All right, what's going on, chat? Hope everyone's doing well. Just getting everything set up. Appreciate everyone being patient. Let's swap things over. We were recording recently, so let's put the ISO back to auto. We'll pump the light up. We'll get everything lined up. What's going on, chat? Hope everyone's doing well. The music's set up. Yada, yada, yada. All right. Hope everyone's doing well. Just grabbed a quick bite to eat downstairs. I was starting to stream because we're going to be streaming for a little bit tonight. Got to hit that 3-hour mark for Keith. Good thing is the internet gods have blessed us tonight. No internet issues, it looks like. So what's going on? I hope everyone's doing well. For everyone just tuning in, as usual, last Friday of the month, we have our Twitch only, unfortunately, just due to the fact that this only works on Twitch. Oh, we got to swap. Every time this Elgato. Forgot we had the webcam. What's going on, chat? How you guys doing? There we go. So we got that open on Twitch, !play. Unfortunately, there's no functionality on YouTube with it. But we do a video, generally the last video of the month. Not that we have a video coming out tomorrow, but the one after that. Because I forgot, I think we might have missed the last one, but we did a giveaway on live stream last time. All right, but with that out of the way, we're going to be tying some flies tonight, as usual. Stand aside, I will win this. Yeah. I've heard it all. What it comes down to is how good you are at polishing your marbles. But we have a new video coming out tomorrow, and that's going to be the Henry Cowan's bait fish, but tied in a jig hook form. And the video's up now for members on YouTube. So I need to tie a couple more of these for a customer. So we're going to do that tonight. And then we'll probably get done with those before the end of the stream. But if not, then or if we get done with that before the end of the stream, then we'll mess around and tie some other stuff. But it's Friday night. We're tying. Hope everyone's doing well. Little side note, I've been getting back into guitar. So right now we're like listening to Epidemic Sound music. But I want to work on essentially just getting rid of this, saving $20 a month, and just writing some tunes for some just like quiet background tracks, because we don't play the music loud anyway. So but yeah, we've been working on some music and stuff like that. And also for the second YouTube channel, Mike Rolls Dice, I want to make like cool rock songs for the battle reports. So who knows, we might have some live music on the stream again on one of these nights. So we'll see. Right now, Saturday nights we stream on Mike Rolls Dice. We stream battle reports, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we could do it alternating weekends. We could do music or something. I don't know. We'll see. I've yet to figure out what to do, but it's going to take a little while to build up a catalog of original tunes for us to jam over anyway. So, but we are starting to work on that again slowly, because I'm in the middle of roosterfish fly tying season, and the spring striper season is starting up, so I'm busy in that regard. We have fly tying videos and discussion videos to do, and then we have my second YouTube channel, which is keeping me very busy. So we'll see. It'll probably be a little while, but at some point I wouldn't mind getting back into some live music on the channel or something. I don't know when or how, but that's something to think about for the future. Anyways, we're going to be starting off by putting a lead keel on all of these. We're going to tie 3 more. So we'll go ahead and just do our keels here. Get these out of the way. Oh, it's tough to get it I like having it offset at a slight angle so it's less noticeable on the... There's no bump, but at times it can be a little tricky. You got to make sure you secure it enough to where it's not going to move, so... Just got to wrap around it a good amount, but without bending it too much. Because you'll see I kind of want to bend it like that. Now we can go ahead and wrap it forward. It's all going to get covered with body braid, so it doesn't need to be the tightest thing in the world. And that should be good, because I have to do 2 more. Then we can go ahead and just wrap over it. I'll do all the lead stuff now, so then I can go wash my hands when I'm done with the lead. Alright, we'll get our Bill's body braid here, and we'll start wrapping it up. So how's everybody doing? I hope everyone's doing well. You ready for the weekend? Yeah, what is it now? It's the 27th. Well, first off, bills are coming up. But striped bass season's coming up as well with the new bills that need to get paid. So hopefully we start hearing some reports from out west, because they usually see fish first, and then we'll start getting some fish here. Back that off. I'm trying to make sure that there's no gaps for the thread to fall into is the biggest thing here. And we're just covering our lead wire up so it's not unsightly, and also we don't have those grooves for the thread to fall into. We'll just wrap this, and now we're good to go. We'll just do the other 2. Yeah, this video comes out tomorrow. And I think it's a good example of how you can take a lot of flies and tie them on a jig hook, maybe throw a keel or throw some sort of weight on the other side. And you can take quite a lot of different flies and just put them on a jig hook, and you can kind of change up how the fly swims and how the action is all together in that regard. We're just going to do our keels real quick. But we're definitely going to be trying out the Cowan's bait fish to start. That and our usual suspects early on in the season, which is the bucktail deceiver in various styles and some sort of squimpish hollows usually. I don't really fish small flies. I usually fish searching flies, or what I call them. So they're like 4, 5, maybe 6 inches, kind of like the size of a plastic swim bait you would use early in the year or something for just general searching purposes. Do one more twist, tie. I would like to experiment with putting the weight on the underside and trying that out for... I would also like to try getting the scud weights and doing the one that darts. So maybe we could mess around. We could tie, if we get these 3 banged out pretty quick, then when we're done, we can do some funky versions with weight near the rear or something like that and see how that does. Something you see all the time. I always move the vise when I work. I don't like having a solid. I kind of like being able to twist the vise and move it as... I like having it be fluid, you know what I mean? Which makes it a pain when I'm recording, because I have to stop myself from doing that. But in my everyday fly tying, I'm always moving the vise around. Not the base, just the actual vise on the stem, you know what I mean? But it's annoying when I'm filming, for sure. Because there have been times where I've had to redo the videos halfway through or the entire video because I've moved the vise out of focus. So it's been an issue. Here it's fine, but when I do more intricate camera angles for filming. Yeah, what's going on, Jimmy Crackcorn? How's it going? Hope you're doing well. We're doing all right. I do, there's one piece of gear from when we stopped playing guitar live on Twitch. There's one piece of gear I was missing, and that's a delay pedal. So we got a delay pedal coming for the solos and all that. But started playing a little bit of guitar again. But other than that, just been fly tying, working on roosterfish flies, working on fly tying videos, and working on battle reports for Mike Rolls Dice. Which Mike Rolls Dice is almost at 1,000 subs. I think we're 60 subs away now or something like that. And then I can start earning ad revenue on the second channel, which is all about miniature related, like wargaming. So go subscribe to Mike Rolls Dice on YouTube if you haven't, if you want to help support the cause here of the poor humble fly tyer. We found a way to turn our me and my friend playing mini games on the weekends to, what do you call it, earn a little ad revenue to help the fly tying life. Yeah, it was just internet issues. It wasn't on our end. It was on Optimum, so it just must have been some sort of upload issue we had. So, because we streamed Saturday night, that was good. We streamed Tuesday night, I think it was, or something, to make up for Friday or Thursday. I forget when. Time flies. I spent the past, pretty much the past all day yesterday. I was tying some flies, working on some stuff, play a little guitar for this, because I'm starting to work on some songs for the live streams and for the other channel. And the majority of the day was filming and editing this fly right here. So this is coming out. We put it out early today for the members, and it's coming out tomorrow. So we always got VODs, right? There's always VODs for you guys to check out if you ever miss a stream, so no worries. They're archived here on YouTube. They're on Twitch as well, but they get deleted after a while on Twitch. They only keep so much, so it's good that we stream on YouTube as well, so that we can have like an archive of all the moments of me embarrassing myself on the internet. You know what I mean? Yo, what's going on, Frankenstein? How's it going? It's way too much glue. Let's clean it off. Yeah, we just put out a new battle report with this game Turnip 28, which is so cool. The aesthetics are awesome. And it's getting less views than we normally do because of the conflict, but it's still doing pretty good. You know, 500-600 views on a couple days. So the main thing is I want to make sure we diversify on that channel and play some different games. So, but we're having a lot of fun with that channel, Mike Rolls Dice. And now that fishing season starts and we've made it through another winter of being stuck inside, I can finally start doing some more fishing stuff. So yeah, I wanted to make sure not to start at like 7:30 or something. I got to try and start streaming earlier for fly tying, just in general, but I hate getting done with the stream at like 10 something, because today I just ate a quick burger before I started the stream, but I didn't even get to really eat dinner or anything because I was working on some videos. I didn't even realize. I looked over because of the sunlight. You know, now it's getting darker later, or staying light later. I was like, oh my god, it's already 6:30. I was working on this video. I was just in the zone. It's very easy to let the time melt away when you're editing videos. I'm just living in hotkey land with the keyboard editing. I'm like, why is this? It looks like it's starting to get darker. Oh my god, it's already 6. Gotta start the stream. I'll get back to editing later. This is the next Mike Rolls Dice video coming out next week. Alright. So which we just did the Cowan's bait fish and a jig hook. I want to do the Magnum bait fish version, but I don't like doing the same fly over and over again. So we might do something else before the Magnum. But we're definitely going to cover some bigger flies come like May and June because of the striped bass and the bunker. But we'll start off with the springtime classics. The flies that I think are best for springtime are... I kind of like... A lot of times the flies I cover are somewhat seasonal in a way, you know what I mean? Once it's albie season, I'll start tying a lot more albie flies, stuff like that. God, my nose is itching like crazy. I don't know why. Caught 6 trout yesterday. Fishing season has started. Oh, very nice. What sort of fishing were you doing? Like streamers, nymphs? Okay, gotcha. Well, now you get to type to your heart's content on the live stream because what do you call it? You can only leave comments on a previous VOD. We're gonna I always like using a little bit more craft fur than I think because once I put the liquid fusion on there, it's gonna compress it slightly. Fly caddis emerger, very nice. So some dry fly stuff. Is an emerger? Is that like on the surface? Yeah, right. It's like still cold enough to where like my nose runs and stuff, but it's starting to warm up a little, but we're still in like the 50s right now. So I think we are going to need some warmer weather before the fishing really kicks off, but subsurface. Okay, so it's before it's actually emerged. It's emerging. I gotcha. It's an emerger. Midge mergers with the crystal flash. And for the bead head, I'm using these tiny little glows. Dark glass beads and like ostrich curl peacock around the neck. Oh, okay, very nice. Yeah, I never follow any recipes or patterns whenever I was tying steelhead nymphs. I always just tied what looked cool. I'm like, let me put some peacock, let me put some purple, put a little flash, let me put some stiff feathers, kind of like turkey biot-ish type things. Just let me make it look like a bug, but let me make it look cool. And those are the ones that all did best, not the ones that you would like are like the classic colors, like all black or whatever. There's all these funky ones that we tied on stream that I caught all my steelhead on. The film or sub or just below it, gotcha. All right. Whoosh. Flip it upside down. All right. I need to start cranking these out, so that's what I'm gonna start doing because I want to tie some funky ones later. Yo.
Steelhead nymphs.
Yo, Choke and Stroke. Estaz forever. Steelhead nymphs. What's going on, Choke and Stroke? Long time no see, man. I feel like we haven't seen you in the chat for a little bit. Appreciate it. Round of applause. It's a good tune, too. 31 months, though, with the tier 1 on Twitch. Thank you, my friend. Don't forget we have the... we do our Twitch giveaway at the end of the month on marbles. So you can !play, hop in there. And we do our YouTube giveaway via a video. So we have this new Magnum baitfish video coming out tomorrow, but we're going to do another video after that and do a giveaway, so... for all the folks on YouTube. Love that vise. I'm now just starting to tie my own flies. Very nice, Backyard Outdoors. Yeah, this is a Regal Revolution. They also sell... this is like their top of the end line, or the top model. It's like $420, but they also sell one that's like $200 or like $210. That doesn't have the same rotary function as much, or like this ball bearing system, but the jaw system on Regals is fantastic. It's classic. It's been around forever, but it's... you'll break the hook before the hook ever moves in the vise, and you just go like this. So I do a lot of commercial fly tying. I hate having to fiddle with the knobs and stuff. That's why I like the Regal. All right, we're going to start cranking these out. I got to do 3 of them, so I'm going to cut a bunch of material ahead of time. What we're going to do is we're going to cut the lawner sections first. Then we'll cut a little bit of shorter section. And then I'll cut some really short stuff for the belly of this slinky and flash. Again, keeping it pretty sparse at the same time. Put some of that, like this, like that. Just give me a sec, chat. I'm just going to get it all kind of pre-prepared, if you will. But you don't need a fancy vise to start off. You can always use some sort of cheapo vise as well. Yeah, for Discord, you you just make an account, and then you can join the Discord down below. So if you click that, it'll be like, oh, make an account, or you make an account, and then you might just need to wait, like, or you might need to just wait a little bit before you post anything in the Discord to deal with any shenanigans. But yeah, Discord's free. It's pretty much just like a way to like talk and post stuff. It was mostly used in like gaming with computers and stuff. It still is. We use it to like game with our buddies and talk to each other while we play. Because there's no like built-in way to talk to each other on a computer. But nowadays it's also like people have used it for a long time with streaming, for having a way for when you're not streaming, like everyone can still chit chat and talk about stuff related to the stream or whatever. That's the idea behind it. So I'm just going to cut some lengths of material here and just get them ready so we can bang them all out at once. And I mean, that should be pretty good. So we want to go pretty sparse. I guess we could go a little bit more for the longer section, but I should really just start off with a small amount so I don't overdo it anyway. I can always take more off. Just do this. Okay. We should be like good to just tie, hopefully. The Regal Revolution is tough to beat. It is. There's a lot of great vices out there, but I'm pretty biased on this that A, Regal built this for me, and B, I've been using it for so long, and just a fantastic vice. Very easy to use. The only issue I have is it tarnishes somewhat easy because I sweat so much, but that's not the vice's issue. That's me living by the water, and more so me sweating so much in my hands. I actually just bought a bunch of stuff to polish the frets on my guitars because I sweat so much when I play guitar that the strings and the frets and everything get so corroded. It's really a pain, but it's the same thing for me here during the summertime when I'm tying for like 8 hours a day sitting down. My hands sweat a lot, so it's the only issue I've had with it, and that's more so to do with me than the vice. And that's, you know, the brass tarnishing and everything. But that's just going to happen, so. We're going to keep it sparse. Let's remember to keep it sparse here. Someone's doggo is barking. We're going to go ahead and do our V-ties. Probably even take out a little bit more material. The sparser the better with this fly. Now let's fold back. We tied these on stream, and there's a video coming out of these tomorrow, so I'm not going to go too crazy in depth in this. We're going to bang these out real quick. And then I would like to tie a couple for myself for the upcoming fishing season. Wash your hands every hour or so, yeah. I mean, I naturally get up, go smoke, you know, so I always wash my hands because touching bucktail and all this crap, you know, last thing you want to do is have that oils on your hand when you're going to eat or whatever. But, yeah, it's kind of inevitable, so, for me at least. Same thing with the guitars. The guitars take a beating when I play them, that's for certain. We're going to have to actually swap out some of the parts on the Stratocaster bridge from the one that I always played live. because the entire bridge is completely rusted. That was the one I used to play like behind my back and stuff for the Hendrix and all this. That guitar is completely like rusted up in the area where my hand sits on the bridge. But I looked into it. Luckily, we can just get a couple replacement parts. We don't have to replace like everything in the bridge section. The pickups too. The pickups get destroyed on my guitars. With the materials, I don't really have an issue with that. It's more so, I wash my hands in it. I hate having like the bucktail oils all over my hands, you know? Especially on bucktails that don't get cleaned properly. The same thing goes for the hackle patches. They can get like quite oily at times. One nice thing about working with synthetics, it's good to make sure you do that with like all the materials, especially with synthetics and dye and stuff. True. Yeah, well, a lot of that stuff is from particularly adhesives. You got to watch out from adhesives and stuff. So, but I mean, just in general, I mean, here we have microplastics, right? So it's like you're kind of, no matter what, you're kind of getting it, but trying to minimize yourself to all that. But, you know, I used to be a mechanic. Being a mechanic, for instance, you get exposed to a hell of a lot more hazardous stuff than a fly tire, for instance. But, for instance, not like breathing in a ton of soft techs is a good thing, I think. But compared to the stuff I used to get exposed to as a mechanic in an auto shop, fly tying is nothing. And those old guys that I used to work with, 67 years old, some of them, old dudes, still smoking cigarettes while breathing in all the carbon monoxide and like all sorts of crap. Yep. Yeah, I mean, just mineral spirits and all that crap, or just like brake cleaner fluid, breathing that in every day compared to fly tying all day. You're probably getting some nasties in there. Whatever the California cancer stuff is all in those cans, you know? Luckily, we're not in California, though, so we're good. That's such a dad joke thing. Well, we're not in California, though, so we should be alright. Yeah, the dust particles, I mean, you gotta wear a mask for stuff like that. Luckily, we don't really have fine particulate flying around and fly tying to deal with, right? Everything that, if it does get kicked up in there, like buck or like deer belly hair, or even rabbit fur stuff, you're not really breathing that stuff in. It's not like a fine particle. So, that's good. So now we're gonna go short. It's more so the adhesives you have to watch out for. And it was a lot of adhesives used back in the day. That, the sort of stuff where you open a bottle and your eyes go crosswords or crossways or whatever. I can't even talk right now. But you get the idea. I've been breathing too much fly tying adhesives, I guess. That's the stuff you got to watch out for. It's not like touching bucktail, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, there might be some dyes and stuff, but there's dyes in your clothes, there's dyes in your food, everything, you know what I mean? It's the glues that really were the ones you gotta watch out for. Oh, you're in California? Then you will get cancer from that stuff. You gotta watch out. Yeah, well, that's something I've always tried to strive for, is using less material. And now I'm just being more conscious of it, especially because I record myself when I fly tie, like 99% of the times nowadays, I feel like, Calvin. So that's one of the reasons why. is I'm tying a little bit sparser because you do want your flies to be sparser in general, but you end up just wasting a lot with these synthetic flies because you end up trimming it. So like it's better to keep it sparser than having to spend more time trimming and waste more material, so you're losing more money as a commercial fly tyer. Anything I could do to make it easier. Like the kinky mothers too, they also told me for striped bass, the way I tied those kinky mothers, they were fantastic. But for the rooster fish guys, they want them a little bit sparser so that they instantaneously sink and track properly for their stripping at 1,000 miles a minute fishing they do. So like I was thinking about it like almost like a striped bass, and I still thought I tied them sparse enough, but apparently I didn't. So this is good training for all of the rooster fish kinky mother heads I'm going to be doing here in the near future. Right now I'm doing tail sections at the moment, but and I can probably get a hell of a lot more flies out of the material, but it's still going to be freaking expensive as always, because tying a bunch of synthetic head flies like that, hundreds and hundreds, you end up going through a lot of material. But the least amount of material I can use, the more money I can save, the better. Gotcha, Jimmy. Yeah, well, good thing you reminded me because I wasn't going to remember. So let's go ahead and do one more tie here. And we'll just tie them all and then we'll trim them at the end. We'll keep it nice and simple. We'll do a little mini commercial tying sesh for the beginning of the stream. And then we can have some fun and tie some for ourselves later. Keep it short though for the last ones here. Now you can have more material on top, for instance, in general, because that'll help turn the fly over, but let's redo this. This gray is not cooperating with us. This white, I'm just going to start back a little bit. I kind of went a little too far forward, so it's slipping and sliding. So if something's fighting you and it's not working, just undo it. It's not worth the hassle of trying to mess with it. That's why I try not to work too far forward towards the jig bend of the hook, because you start getting this where it gets a little unruly, but that's all right. We can work with it. It's all about your spacing, really, right? See, it's definitely takes a little while to get comfortable with your V-ties, but once you get the hang of it, especially with keeping your ties even top and bottom, so. Well, I will say, I don't like Steve Farrar fiber for the V-ties. I like either straight up Slinky or the Flash and Slinky now, because the thing is, after having Henry explain it in detail, the fact that you can see it when you hold up Steve Farrar fiber next to Slinky fiber, or Flash and Slinky, I should say, because Slinky fiber clearly is just Slinky fiber. But the ratio is 75% Angel or Win Flash and 25 Slinky for the SF blends versus 75% Slinky, 25% Flash for this particular flash. So I think for this sort of stuff, this is way better for V-ties. But when you're tying larger flies, I think it's perfectly reasonable to use the Steve Farrar fiber. That being said, this works good for the large stuff as well. But it just depends what sort of style of synthetic you're going for. But for the V-ties, because there is so much angel hair, and you notice it when you're working with the SF blends, you end up throwing away so much angel hair when you're doing the V-ties because you're like tapering and messing with it. This is way better for V-ties. That or just straight up Slinky. And generally the other thing is I never do the entire head with SF blends. I would do like most of the head with Slinky, and then I'll do the front head, the front 2 ties, or like the front tie and the hollow tie on a Kinky Mother with SF blends. And that's how Johnny does it, but yeah. All right, let's keep tying. It's almost the exact pattern for the fly shop here, but on a 2-aught tarpon hook. And without the pink, well, you're missing out. This is the secret sauce. This is fluoro fiber, which is technically a flash material, but look at this. Look in the middle how it's pink, and on the sides it's red. Look how I move it. Look how the color's changing. You see that? It's almost like freaking electric. I've never seen a material like this before, and Henry explained it, and he's like, wait till you see it. But you have to put this in the fly. He said this, a little bit in the throat, is what makes the difference in these in the flies. He's done a lot of testing. We're gonna test it out ourselves and see if it helps. I'm gonna start adding it to a bunch of different flies in the throat and see if it helps. But it, like, just a tiny bit of it. I've filmed it in 4K on my synthetic video. It's crazy how it changes colors and, like, it almost glows. It's a wild material. It's only this color. It's only the hot pink fluoro fiber. None of the other colors do it. So it's like a very special thing. I don't know if it's UV. We can tell by doing this. Probably is. No, it's not very UV. It's not like super glowy. See, without the light, it kind of just looks, it's in the camera, it's kind of hard to see, but just in my eyes, it kind of looks kind of pink. The camera really does a good job picking up how the light changes it, but it's when you stick it in the light, that's when it really starts. I think it's almost acts like a fiber optic, how it picks up the surrounding light. The baitfish emulator? No, I haven't. No. Haven't tried that one yet. Alright, let's keep tying. Yeah, blues and purples. It's sick. I've never seen a material that does this with this much vibrance without being like some sort of gimmick sort of thing. They'll wear out over time or something. Have you ever worked with Seno for a glide bait? What do you mean by glide bait? Are you talking about for flies? And are you talking about Seno's laser dub? Or are you talking, is Seno something different? Are you talking about the worms? Because I don't. Alright, we'll get our craft fur tail here. Yeah, what's a glide bait? Is that the, is that top water or is that subsurface? Darting? I don't spin fish, so it's been a while. I don't think they even had the glide bait term back when I was striper fishing in the 90s, or maybe, but I didn't hear people talking about it. As a Senio's head? That's the thing. Whatever you're trying to do with it, whether it's some sort of swimming action, an articulated fly, it's a mullet fly like we use for stripers. I like the Senios when I'm trying to create a 3D profile in the front of the fly, not only to help like a nice transition, but also to then give the water something to flow over, to then do its little vortice action that it does, come back around and hit the tail. So if you are trying to impart some sort of particular action in the fly, whether it's some sort of side to side or some sort of thing, having some sort of head on it could definitely help. What you may want is a wide head in the front with something like a Senos, and then have weight somewhere in the rear if you're trying to achieve something like that. But yeah, kind of like how like a pole dancer moves, if you will. But that's like a surface fly, which is similar to like the spook top water lures we use for stripers. Yeah, so it's probably going to be a combination. I don't know if the Sentinel's laser dub will be the perfect thing, but you could definitely try that. Ram's wool is another option, which Ram's wool is a more natural alternative to the Sentinel's laser dub. So, because if you ever look at the Popovix flies, that might lead you into the rabbit hole of doing the silicone heads as well. So, I don't know. I'm sure there's some sort of darting fly you can figure out between all of that. So, but the Sentinel should work. You can always try and coat it in silicone as well if you want to try and create an air pocket. Something like that, right? Your fly will almost fish in negative distance when stripped, like a 35 mil shank in front of it. Gotcha. Yeah, it's great for articulated flies for that. That's kind of where I got the idea for the mullet marauder, was from the freshwater guys that were using the Sentinel's laser dub and making those bulky heads on the articulated flies. I was like, oh, why don't we do that in saltwater? I just got super glue all over my thumb. Damn it. I hate it. I haven't gotten super glue all over my fingers in a while. Luckily, it's not on my fretting fingers. What was I talking about? Damn it. Just like completely covered my finger with super glue right there. Oh yeah, I kind of got the idea from the freshwater. I was like, let's put the Sentinel's laser dub bulky heads on a saltwater fly and see what happens. Just use like a Popovix fly and put the head on front, you know? Man, super glue. I'm gonna have to like peel it off. I'll just leave it for now. It's just so annoying, especially because I roll my own cigarettes and stuff too, so I don't want to be smoking super glue, bro. Some of that dank. Screw. Luckily, I didn't get it. Well, I did get it under my fingernail, but that's the worst, is when you get super glue underneath your fingernail. Ugh. Suck it up, Buttercup. Hiding some foam inside so it rides high and the Sentinels will push the water. Kind of how they do a dam bulkhead. A dam of a bulkhead. Yeah, you could definitely try something like that. Like I said, though, if you're trying to achieve... If the foam's too much, try out using like ram's wool and spinning a deer hair. Look up the Popovix silicone or simple clone. We have it here on the channel. It's an older video, but you're spinning the ram's wool, and I think you can do this with Sentinel's laser dub as well. If it's long enough, or if you're tying a small enough fly, you can spin it by grabbing a big wad of it, opening it up like a flower petal, sticking it over the hook, tying it in the middle, letting it flare, and then weaving your thread through and tying in front. And now you have a pseudo deer hair spun-esque tie, but with ram's wool. Then you do that all the way forward. You pick out the head, like with like a afro pick style, pick it, and then you trim it, and then you coat it in silicone, and you have this very like squishy air like head and body with ram's wool, with a coat of silicone on the outside, and it forms an air pocket on the inside. So, you know what I mean? No, I told myself to suck it up, Buttercup, because I have super glue under my thumbnail. But yeah. No, what I'll say to you is see you later, alligator. Get banned! No, I'm joking. Yo, what's going on, Zeke? How's it going, dude? Turn my mic down a little bit because sometimes I get a little excited and start peeking it. Yeah, see you later, alligator. That's what I say to you, Buster. Alright, we're going to tie a little bit of I gotta start calling people Buster more often. I'm going to start calling members of the chat Buster. It's fun. Alright, Buster. Alright. Fold this stuff back. Yeah, it's already uncomfortable, the freaking super glue, but you know, because what happens is the super glue dries underneath your thumbnail and it starts like putting pressure on your thumbnail meat. What you can do though is like run it under a hot water for a while. It'll help break it up. I've gotten a lot of super glue underneath my thumbnails over the years tying flies. It's one of the reasons why I try to keep my thumbnails, my nails in general, somewhat long, at least definitely not too short, because once it's peak tying season, I'm constantly getting super glue all over my fingers, so. And it is not fun when you have super glue inside your, underneath your nail. Good thing is, when I poke my finger on the hook, it started bleeding. I could just cover it in super glue and good to go. Get banned. You gotta just randomly every once in a while throw out the random joke bans. Alright, moving on to the next tie here. Again, keeping it sparse. The sparser the better. And really, just shortening the length down on the first two ties. Again, I'm going to go in depth tomorrow. You're going to see the video on this fly, but the first two I keep somewhat long. After that, we really start shortening the length of the material down, because otherwise you're just going to cut it off and waste it. So go ahead and wrap this like so. Okay, we're cooking now. Now we're moving to the smaller sections. I see this guy on Instagram who does something like that for Neil pattern. Yeah, you could definitely experiment with it. The main thing is what you're going to find is putting weight in the rear of a fly is going to help try and get you that action. If you look at any sort of lures, any sort of plugs that you've used for striped bass over the years, there's always some sort of weight, and it's always generally the weight either moves or it's placed somewhere to where it's in the rear. Because if you have the weight in the rear and it's lighter in the front, when you strip the fly or you yank the rod on a lure, what's going to happen is it's going to impart that action, and it's like a pendulum where the weight is in the rear, and there's not as much weight in the front, so it moves in the front and the rear kind of stays. So that's where you kind of get that side to side. Trying to master that in a fly is very tricky, particularly in salt water. The one thing I've learned is flies swim differently in fresh than they do in salt. I've had flies do that exact side-to-side motion in freshwater in lakes with articulated flies. The second I put them in salt, they swim perfectly straight. So getting that to happen in salt in general is very tough. I will not, there's no way you could fly tie with gloves. I just refuse. I mean, you can, but then you deal with the other thing of, like, if you glue your gloves together and things like that. But I mean, just get a little glue on your hands. Be a man, you know what I mean? Just pick the skin off later. It's fine. But yeah, I've like tried. The only time I will ever use gloves and fly tying specifically is with silicone, because it is the worst thing to get off your hands. Other than that, I'll just wash my hands off. Like UV resin, whatever. I try not to get it on my hands, but super glue is not the... I mean, it sucks when it gets underneath your nails, but I have super glue on my fingers like 30% of the time of my life, I feel like. It's not that big of a deal, but resin's not that big. I mean, it's annoying because it really is kind of hard to get off your fingers at times, but it's not the worst. After a couple good scrubs and using like Dawn dish soap, and like using like a paper towel on the last step to really like remove any leftover resin, you'll be all right. But I've tried tying with gloves. I just couldn't do it because it's just too much. Takes away from the tactile feel of tying, you know, too much for me. But for silicone, I have to do it because the silicone is impossible to get off your fingers. It's ridiculous. Probably because the salt water is more viscous. Probably need more weight in the back and articulation point. I think it has to do with the buoyancy and the density of the salt. But maybe you're right. Maybe it's something to do with like the viscosity. I didn't think about that. I didn't even know that salt water is like more viscous than fresh. But I figured it was something to do with the buoyancy of the salt, Ernesto. But also, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Like how in saltwater things, you know, the salt causes your body to float. Like if you've ever just floated in a bay before, as opposed to trying to float in a lake, you're much less buoyant. What do you call it? So I figured it was something like that, but it could be a combination. But I was fishing with Mark Sadati, and we were fishing in a lake, throwing like a giant squimpish articulated fly, and it was doing the craziest side-to-side action. I'm like, this looks sick. Brought it in saltwater, like the exact current conditions and everything. The only difference was one water had salt and the other one, so it was like same, no current, nothing, calm day. But yeah, I just couldn't get it to do the same thing. It's crazy. So I was like, okay, what's the only outlier here? One water has a high salinity and the other one has no salt water, so it's got to be something to do with that. That's like the only thing I could come up with. Now, why that is, I don't know, but that could be a cool thing to crack the case on. Could probably do like a college paper on it. And then get a article with like Tail Fishing Magazine or something, you know? That'd be a cool video, actually. I wouldn't mind like going and filming some flies in a lake and then filming them in the bay and showing how they swim differently. Yeah, same rod and everything. Yeah, because you know, you would think like the biggest difference, it's not I don't think the rod would even be the difference, because I always keep my rods perfectly straight in line with the line. That's a big thing I do, because I always want the perfect feel for if a fish grabs the fly. But same rod and everything. The main difference is whether or not there's tension on the line, i.e. current, right? And whether or not there's a chop. If there's a chop in the waves could be affecting, if you're using a floating line, the waves could be rolling and that could be putting tension on the fly. If it's a calm day and you're fishing in the back bay somewhere where there's no current, it's virtually like fishing in a lake. You know what I mean? So why is the fly not swimming the same? I think it has to do with the salt content and how salt causes things to float differently than in freshwater. That's my hypothesis. So what I should do is take a fly. I need to get like a drone view, or I need someone on like a freaking ladder to film it, because you need to like stand in a canoe to see it with polarized sunglasses. So I want to get like a above view of a fly doing that sort of side-to-side action in a lake, and then take that same exact fly in the bay, same setup, same conditions other than just salt, and then show how, at least in my experience, that fly does not swim the same. A lot of times we don't notice it because you're not in a position to be able to see the fly from a bird's eye view when you're fishing in the bay. But I mean, you can notice when you're just seeing it, you know. The other thing is, like some of the, like that fly in particular would only swim like that when it was like 20 feet away from the boat. So that's the other thing too. Some flies, you know, like a pole dancer, you're not going to be able to get a pole dancer to do its side to side action 10 feet away from your rod tip. That's the sort of fly you need to cast out and get into a rhythm. You know what I mean? So certain flies swim certain ways. You know, there's certain intricacies when it comes to, once we start going from flies that we just cast to flies that you're specifically trying to get to swim a certain way. It's definitely tricky. for sure. So if you can design a fly that consistently swims a particular way when you're trying to achieve some sort of action in the fly that's not your usual fly, you know, that's a very hard thing to do, to be able to consistently have a fly that consistently does that. Kind of almost ran out of room here, but we'll be okay. I gotta tighten it down a little bit. There we go. It's the problem. You get too close to the bend of the jig hook and it can get a little messy to work with, but it's alright. So I'm getting these done for somebody. This is actually Henry. Passed their information on to me, so this is done. I gotta go ship these out. Or talk to the person as well. And now I'm gonna be working on I have a gigantic order of kinky muddlers. So, video editing and kinky muddlers. Video editing and kinky muddlers. I'm going to try and do some fishing every day. Get out of the house because I've been stuck inside the house for the past 2.5 months. But that's pretty much it. So I'm excited to do some fishing for sure. Also, probably make some videos covering some early... I mean, we did that spring video. I don't think I ever need to make another spring video ever again, but we probably will make some more springtime-esque discussion videos, you know? But that one spring video we did is like... kind of covers all the bases, really. Again, nice and sparse. We're going to trim these here in a little bit. I just like always looking over the fly and getting the material if I need to. Like, let me get some on the sides here. We can kind of manipulate this. You can always use your thumbnail. This is another reason why I leave my thumbnails a little bit longer. So I don't get... See, this one I cut it too short. I got the super glue underneath. If you leave it a little bit longer, this is your best fly tying tool ever. This is another reason why I get super glue underneath it all the time. But this... You could probably make a bunch of money convincing people they need to buy a tool that does this, but luckily your thumbnail does it. But for all those people that have like 55 different fly tying tools that I would have lost by now, I could probably develop something to sell them. Like a little thumb looking thing. Just cut something in the shape of my thumbnail right now and sell it. The fly tying, the pusher tool, or the spreader tool. But yeah, using your thumb and just kind of like right where the material meets the fly, you can take your thumb and kind of push into the material and spread it. So if you're trying to get that material and that V-tie to flare out a little bit more, you can do it after. Even though we glued it and everything, you can still kind of manipulate it a little. And that goes for the top as well. So you can see I'm kind of like using my thumb here. I'm kind of doing it more exaggerating it right now, but this is for you guys to see. You can kind of manipulate it like that, and now we have the material spread more on the sides, ready to be trimmed. That's something you could do after. I don't like a lot of material on the sides, but I like a little bit for when I glued the eyes on there. So yeah, well, we don't want to talk about that. I got to develop something I could sell for like $30 on Hairline or something, right? The Mike Ross thumb spreader. Freshwater floats on saltwater, less dense. So freshwater is less dense. Yep, true. Again, I don't know if that even any of this matters for how it relates to how the fly swims in the water, but yeah. All right. Got one more of these to tie real quick. We'll trim them up. We'll glue some eyes on, and then we can... You know what? We were just talking about this before... who was it that popped in? Julian. So, what we'll do is we'll tie some jig versions of these, but there's a couple different ways you could do this. And this is the way that Mark Sadati tried it in the past, was taking a piece of monofilament, sticking it off the rear of the fly and wrapping wire, or taking wire and putting it somewhere in the rear of the fly. The idea is we want the weight in the rear, right? And then we could put some sort of bulky head in the front, which we're kind of doing by building up this V-tied head. We could go for more roundish V-tie with the hollow tie, Johnny King's style, for instance, or something. But all right. Real quick, though, how long have we been streaming? Is it time for a hookah lounge break? Boy, oh boy, I tell you what, it's been an hour and 10 minutes. It's really about an hour because I left the load-in thing for a while. But that, you know what that means. It's about time for the LI Flies Mike unionized hookah lounge break. That's right. Look, if I don't hit the hookah lounge at least every hour and 10 minutes, we're going to have a problem here, okay? It's in the paperwork. You know how it is. The contract's been signed for a long time, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take a little break real quick. We're going to put it on our Albie video. If you haven't, !play. If you're watching on Twitch, you can hop in the marble race. I apologize for everybody watching on YouTube. There is no functionality for this. You could always head over to Twitch if you like. But if not, no worries. We do a giveaway on generally the last video of the month. Now, we do have a video coming out tomorrow, which will probably be the official last video of the month. But we're going to have another video after that for a giveaway. Problem is, I can't really ship too many flies out for the giveaways that have a lot of weight or a certain size because I put them in an envelope. So we'll do something a little bit smaller that'll be easier to ship. Some sort of Deceiver-esque fly maybe or something. Yeah, the tie flyers union. Yep, the tie, like tie sticks. Yep, exactly. And I'll tell you what, they get pissed. They'll come break some ankles if I don't go. So we better take a hookah lounge break here. And if you haven't checked out the LI Flies Mike Lounge, we have a bar, a fly shop. We have a hookah lounge indoors and outdoors for summertime. So I'll see you guys out there on the balcony. But we'll be back in a little bit for finishing up the rest of these Cowan's baitfish, and then we'll be tying some funky variations here shortly, all right? Also, what's going on, Frosty? Stay tight, all right? Yeah, keep it tight. Yeah, dude. Yeah, Aiden. Knuckle buster. Are you good? Do you need me to do anything?
Yeah, I might need a ride. Yes.
Okay. Hold on, I'm gonna turn now.
I'm gonna try and get on the valve.
Yeah, get on the valve. All right, you're doing good. Keep doing your thing. I'm gonna move us away.
Is that a little one?
No, that's a nice one.
Oh, let's go!
Come here, hold next to your alley. Good job.
That's sick.
All right. Nice.
Let's go! Woo! Albie slap!
Good job, dude.
Yee!
You're in the bathroom already?
Looking down the barrel of a 12 gauge little tuny, bro.
On the alligator too.
Oh my god, dude! What the fuck? Woohoo! Oh my god. Yep. Oh my god!
All right, and we back. Hey, what you put in those hookahs? Look, it ain't up to us, you know. All right, let's keep on tying. Also, what's going on, Frosty? How's it going? You get your guitar practice in today? I tweaked my IR settings. I think the orange amp sounds beautiful. My delay pedal's coming tomorrow. I'm building my pedal board. I got some Velcro coming from Amazon. We might need to break out the guitar at the end of the stream. Throw down a couple licks. I gotta set up my Gibson though, but I gotta clean all the frets. But for now, I'm just wailing on it. But practice. I'm already starting to get a little better just from playing every day. My fingers are getting back to... I'm starting to get a little quicker. So now I got to step outside my comfort zone and get the pinky in line, which is not going to be easy, but practice, practice, practice. So I've been coming up with, I've been trying to come up with a song a day, just like a lick or a tune. And then I record it real quick and stash it away for when I got a little time to expand on it. But you got to play. I saw a thing, this is what Jared Nichols says. 30 minutes a day when you wake up. Just pick it up and just jam out a little. And I liked it, so that's what I did this morning. I was like, you know what? Get the finger warm up going, do some editing, do some tying. Then I got to stream later. Just did? Alright, cool. Well, I'll tell you what, after the stream tonight, what do you call it? Well, I guess we gotta wait till you get your line 6, but once it gets here, be prepared for the Li Flies mic guitar routine. Because I'm gonna practice with you. I'm gonna practice with you so we can both get better. You'll have your little routine, I'll have mine. We'll do it together. Because I need an excuse. You know what I mean? Alright. So we got a craft for a tail. Let's do our bodies here. Bang this out real quick. Again, you don't want that material to... Like, for instance, you have a beautiful craft fur tail with a ton of movement in it. Last thing you want to do is completely choke it with the Steve Farrar fiber. So that's something you want to be mindful of, for instance, is like if you got that sick, soft material in the tail, don't choke it out by fully covering it in the synthetic. So we want to make sure this material peeks out the back really nice. Yeah, next up is I got to show my dad some of these songs and have him come up with a part. The idea is to get my dad involved in the music, so give him something to do. If you guys don't know, my dad's a sick guitar player. He doesn't have like modern day like chops and stuff, but he has his own Turkish shred. But he needs to practice too. We haven't played for a long time, so he needs like an excuse to do it, so. It'll be good. You know what? I'm going to move this a little forward. I was a little too far back. I don't like it. We're going to redo it. Beauty of the V-tie, you can always go back and adjust it. It's not like it's a pain to deal with. So what I'm going to do is this. Just kind of wrap forward more. Just to give myself a little bit more wiggle room here. I don't like being too far back where that lead wire was wrapping down. Don't be afraid to wrap back, adjust. It's okay. It's better than tying the whole fly and being like, damn it, I screwed up. You know what I mean? But again, sparse. Sparser the better. As usual. Today's lesson, as always, for the year of 2026 is sparse. Keep it sparse. I like this, by the way. You find this hard paper on the fly tie material. Use this to wipe off your excess super glue to dry quicker. I know they have like the sprays. I bet you using that super glue spray is a one-way ticket to Cancer Town. The stuff that speeds up the super glue. I've never been a fan of that. I just like wiping it down. It dries instantaneously, so. But that's really nice, getting the excess off. I started doing that with the kinky muddlers when I was tying them all day. And just helps speeds it along. Well, I don't know what sort of music we're listening to now. So we're going deep down into the Epidemic Sound playlist. So we're going back like 8 years now. Music I mixed. I mean, I picked. We got a wide variety of tunes tonight to listen to. But I pay $18 or $19 a month for this service. And I only use this music during the live stream now. And some of the highlights. So I'm just going to make new highlights with different music. With my guitar music. And get rid of this. So it is nice, but we play it so quiet. It doesn't matter. Like, how loud's the music right now? It's like nice. It's pretty quiet for you guys, right? The idea is just to have like a light background music is all. I am really happy with this Amazon super glue. In fact, I just ordered it again. It comes with the thick and the thin. I wish I just had the thick, but I the bottle pretty much doesn't make a contact half the time, and it doesn't dry up. So it's very similar to the Zap-A-Gap I've used over the years. And you get a big bottle, 28 grams. I mean, dude, that's an ounce. So you get 2 ounces of super glue for $10. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Don't smoke the super glue, chat, but it was destined. It comes in just over an ounce. Perfect for the hookah lounge repairs. I haven't been converted to the Amazon UV resin yet. I'm still a Solarez hoe because I do like the Solarez. That being said, with the cost of materials and how much money I make per flies, I might need to start using Amazon UV resin. So one of these days, it's going to make a fun video anyway. I want to do a video where we compare Amazon stuff to like Amazon UV resin, Amazon super glue, Amazon this, that. I don't think you can get your fly tying, like when it comes to actual materials, I'll use Slinky fiber. But when it comes to UV resin, maybe we can get away with it. I know Doc uses the UV resin from Amazon. It's way cheaper. So, but I want to do a test where we buy a bunch of resins. This is where the industry is going to hate me. We buy a bunch of different resins. We try them out. It's tax write-off. So, and we test them out. We're going to overheat them. We're going to smack them up against the jetty rocks. And we'll see which ones are more durable. Which ones are heat up less. Don't yellow. And I don't know what the results will be. I don't have loyalty to any company. I don't get paid by anyone. Even though I've given Solarez so much money over the years. So we'll see. I think that'll be a fun video. You know what I mean? I think another fun video would be taking a fly, tying it in 10 different types of material, the same fly, and seeing how it reacts in the water. How does it swim? How does it sink? We could do stuff like that too. Those are video ideas I have, but it's just like all this stuff takes time, so. This is why I need that Mike Rolls Dice ad revenue, you know? Shout out. Subscribe to Mike Rolls Dice for all your narrative wargaming needs, all right? I've chatted with some of the Solarez people, but not like, hey, you know, I'm Micro, you know, this, that, like, let me get free Solarez. But I put it out there in the universe. If they show up with a flatbed and they drop off 55-gallon drums of Solarez, thick and medium and thin. Actually, they keep the thick. I just want the medium and thin. If they give me 55-gallon drums of UV resin, then we're good. And then we've talked about it. The resin does go bad after a while, so you don't want 55-gallon drums. You want those like Heineken kegs that you can get. So I want a Heineken keg of UV resin for my desk. Okay? That's what I want. Just empty out one of those Heineken kegs, Solarez. Take the Heineken thing off the side. I don't even know if they still sell those things. But you remember those Heineken kegs, the small ones you could buy? Do you guys know what I'm talking about? I don't know if that's still a thing, but I remember it being a thing. Give me one of those. Full of resin. I've had to have sold at least enough bottles of Solarez UV resin over the years from just tying and recommending it to everyone to where I deserve a Heineken keg filled with Solarez. Is that too much to ask for? A 2-liter squeeze tube? There you go. Yeah, a little, just a giant Solarez bottle. I'm pretty sure they still make those kegs. I saw one. I never had one, but I feel like back when I was like in high school or like college, this would be like the beginning of the 2010s or the end of the 2000s. I feel like that's when like I remember seeing those Heineken kegs or something. I was like, oh, dude, that's sick. It is Marbles Day, Lima. It is. Now, you got to go to Twitch for that, unfortunately. I apologize to all my YouTube homies. I know you folks are holding down the fort hard nowadays. But don't worry, we got our videos for our giveaways. You get all that delicious fly tying content, you know what I mean? Alright, which we're going to probably have 2 videos this week because it took me a while to get the last video done because I was ordering this material specifically for it. So, I don't know what the next one will be, but we have this video coming out tomorrow. We're probably going to have another one coming out at some point in the middle of next week. So that way we can get back on schedule. I don't want to jip you folks of some good fly tying content on YouTube. But it took me a little longer to get this stuff than I wanted. Alright, I'll cut a little bit more gray here. For the tippy top. What's going on, Lima? Got 2 of them one night for a football game. No complaint. Oh, the kegs? I was like, what the hell are you talking about? A football game? Foosball? Bobby Boucher, foosballs for the devil. But yeah, the kegs. Gotcha. Yeah, you know, back in like high school, I was never a fan of drinking like Bud Light and all this crap beer and like Busch, the beer that you get when you're in high school because you have to like get someone to buy you beer. You know what I mean? So like all that beer always sucked, but I remember like Heineken's weren't bad. I kind of liked Heineken's. Heineken's like Coronas. But nowadays, as an adult, I don't think like if someone offered me a Heineken, I would drink it. Because, like, when someone offers you a free beer, you know, after, like, a work day or something, I mean, come on, bro. You know? But I'm much more of, like, a Guinness or a White Claw or, like... You know, I used to like IPAs. Nowadays, as you get older, the IPAs are, like, they make my teeth hurt. And, like, you know, they give me a headache. So, I don't really mess with the IPAs. I used to. The Montauk's, we used to be known for the Montauk IPAs here. People would come to fly tying shows with a case of Montauk IPAs because they watched my stream. Multiple times I've had people show up at fly tying shows with cases of Montauk IPAs, wave chasers or whatever the hell they're called. But I can't really drink those nowadays because they're so strong, they'll like give me a headache because I'm getting too old. So a good White Claw or like a Guinness or something does the job just fine. But when I used to see someone walking with a case of Montauk beer in those fly shows, I'd be like, oh, who the hell is this? What's their username? That's hilarious. Damn, we got some crazy music going on right now. We're going into the death metal. It's like... Just got done playing 40K. Yo, Ice Reaper, was that you that... No, who's someone's an Adepticon right now. Bobzilla. Bobzilla's at Adepticon. But what's going on? You excited for 11th edition? I'm a Conflict Turnip 28 / which if you haven't, you got to check out the Turnip 28 battle report, Ice Reaper, that we put out recently on Mike Rolls Dice. You want to talk about a real war game? Turnip 28. No, I'm joking. But, what do you call it? I saw that they do have the new 11th edition coming out. It's going to have Blood Angels and Orcs, of course. Which is crazy. I love it as a Blood Angels player. But that being said, I'm not really even thinking about 40K nowadays. Because we got Turnip 28, but we got Conflict and Turnip 28. So, I essentially run a Conflict 47 channel, YouTube channel. So... I made one battle report of 40K, and my community said, nope, we don't want 40K here. We want Conflict and other cool games. And I said, okay, you got it. Nobody watched the video. Meanwhile, I'm getting like 3,000 views on my Conflict videos. I got like a couple hundred on my 40K one or something. It was funny. I was like, all right, message received. I get it. You can get 40K anywhere now. So I like covering other games. But that being said, we still love 40K. But we played a lot of 10th edition, and now we're having so much fun with Conflict and Turnip that, I mean, we haven't played 40K since I made that video, which is like a couple months ago. So once Conflict came out in September, dude, it kind of took over for us. Because you have Okay, I don't want to talk too much about tabletop stuff. I was about to go on a rant about Franklin Delano Roosevelt going through the rift and not having polio anymore, but we're tying flies, so. I'm throwing a tourney for 11th at my house when it drops, probably 16 people. Oh, hell yeah, dude. That's awesome. Well, I hope the Blood Angels win, okay? For Sanguinius. Okay? Hey, Joe, what's going on? Yeah, it's coming out tomorrow, the new video. This is a Henry Cowan's bait fish, but tied in a jig hook. And this was, somebody ordered, what do you call it? Somebody ordered these, and, because Henry doesn't tie flies anymore, so people will, like, reach out. A lot of times I'll have people, like, will reach out to, like, Mark Sadati and ask for flies, or they'll reach out, and these guys don't tie flies commercially. You know, they're guiding, or they're doing this, they're doing seminars. So then they'll be like, hey, Mike, you know, this guy wants some Cowan's bait fish. Can you tie some? So that's what happened here. And that's what led us down this path. And I never pass up a good opportunity to make a fly tying video. Also, let me turn down my mic because I'm like I'm screaming into the microphone. I never pass up an opportunity to make a fly tying video. So even though we just covered the Cowan's bait fish, it's a good opportunity to show how you can take a fly and flip it upside down by tying it on a jig hook and adding some weight. So that's what we're doing. It's coming out tomorrow on YouTube. On YouTube, yeah. Damn, we got some bangers in the old catalog, Epidemic Sounds. Too bad I'm gonna stop paying for this stuff. I'm gonna have to make my own hip hop beats. Oh yeah, so that being said, we also, you know, we used to I don't know, I was trying to think, like, where am I gonna do it? Like, we used to play music on Twitch. I used to play guitar on Saturday nights. I don't know when we're gonna do it, but it would probably be on a Saturday night, maybe alternating every Saturdays, or maybe I'll do my, I don't know, I have to figure out. I'm so busy now with Saturday nights I stream for Mike Rolls Dice, but we're probably going to do some sort of music stream. So I was like, do I stream the music stuff on Li Fly's mic? I would play guitar, like rock and stuff like that, like original jam tracks, and we would just solo. So I don't know if you guys would want to see that. We'll see. But we were streaming that Saturday nights on Twitch. I don't know when I'm going to do it. Maybe we'll do it during the week instead of the weekend. Maybe we'll do that. That could be fun. But, yeah, so I don't know. Or maybe I'll move the other conflict thing. But so that's something that might be happening here. I don't know if you guys would want to see that. Or if I maybe need to make like a... Well, I don't know. I don't know if I want to stream the guitar stuff to Li Fly's mic. Maybe we do. Maybe we got to make a whole nother YouTube channel. Mike plays Mike... Li guitar mic or something. I don't know. But that's something we used to do. We would stream. We would be doing our fly tying stuff on Saturday nights. I would just play guitar for like 3 hours on Twitch. So it's something we might do in the future here. But I need to gauge what's going on. I don't know if I want to do it here on this channel on YouTube. Li Mike shreds. Now you're talking. Why don't I just have 3 YouTube channels? The problem is with any music YouTube thing is like, that's the least professional of everything I'm doing. My battle reports are beautiful. I tie flies for a living, and I think my fly time videos are great. But when it comes to any music stuff, it's like for fun. So I think any like music people that would search it out would be like, what the, this guy sucks. You know? For a fly tying streamer, it's not bad, but for a guitar content creator, it sucks. So maybe we don't want to make a separate channel specifically on YouTube for it. Maybe it's just going to be a bonus. Maybe we should do marble races and then I play guitar. So I should have marble races in the background of the guitar stream. The problem is marble is only for Twitch. If it worked for YouTube, I would be all for it. You guys could gamble with marble races while I shred the whole time. Quote unquote shred. Well, you know what it is, Joe? They the good thing is, luckily, people appreciate how I what do you call it? give credit to where credit's due and all this and that. So, but you know, also it's just I know some of these folks have built up a little. You know, it's like just like anything else over time. There's any commercial fly tire could tie these. So there probably are people that are tying these for other people. But the cool thing is that I'm able to talk to people like Henry Cowan, Alan Kaleo, Mark Sadati, Chris Windrum, all these folks that are titans of the fly tying world, So that's the cool part. These are people that I read books about when I was a kid, you know what I mean? Or read their work or, been tying their flies my whole life. So to be able to talk to these people is the real cool thing. Be like me to be able to talk to Jimmy Page as a guitar player. You know what I mean? Now we're talking. So we're just going to go ahead and trim these real quick. We'll trim all of them. We'll glue the eyes, and then we can go ahead and tie some stuff for the spring run for ourselves. But I figured, I'm in a chit-chatty mood as usual. So. Well, we were streaming on Twitch. The problem is I wouldn't mind streaming it. We get way more viewers on YouTube. I wouldn't mind streaming it on YouTube. And so the folks who watch on YouTube, you can watch where you want. I personally don't watch anything on Twitch anymore. Sorry, Twitch. I do love Twitch. The only people I'll watch on Twitch are people that don't multi-stream. But if they multi-stream, I usually watch on the other platform. That's just my personal preference because I watch YouTube throughout the day. I don't have a cable box. And I don't have like Twitch Turbo, so the ads are unbearable. So on the purple one. That being said, though, Twitch, does have a lot more personal freedoms when it comes to streaming music stuff, you know what I mean? And I do love Twitch in general. Shout out Twitch. It's just, the good thing is that we have options. You can watch where you like, so. But I do want to stream the music stuff somewhere on YouTube. So it'll probably just be on LI Flies Mike or maybe Mike Rolls Dice or something. Who knows? Or maybe we do start another YouTube channel. I don't know what the hell I'm doing anymore. Who knows? We'll probably, I don't know. We'll probably do it on an existing channel. One of the two. It just depends if the fly time people want to watch me make fun of myself playing guitar on the weekends, or maybe the Mike Rolls Dice, or maybe both. Maybe we'll swap back and forth. You know what I mean? It's a cool thing to having two YouTube channels. I feel like we could swap back and forth for both communities. There you go. Do you think it'll be another good worm hatch this year? I think it's always going to be a good worm hatch, it seems like. That's one of the only consistent things we've had. So, hell yeah, I hope so. I think the year prior to this last one was better, but last year was still really good. The only thing that sucks is I have to freaking walk so far. I have like a $300 pair of sunglasses in the mud somewhere over there from like years ago when I went with Aiden. And I have to go through like people's backyards, but in the high tide line. So like people will be sitting on the dock and I'm walking past them and it's so awkward. But it's kind of like an awkward place to park because I don't think you're allowed to be there super late. So I have to like get out of there beforehand. But it's worth it. So we're going to be going back, I'm sure. Now, I'm going to talk to Dad Life on YouTube, who also streams fishing, and see how I can multi-stream on my phone, and see if I even can with my bitrate and everything. If we can, I want to stream some fishing, or more fishing this year. So, if not, we might need to stream to YouTube, and then Twitch, and vice versa, because I don't know. Like, my phone struggles streaming to one platform, but I feel like if Restream works the way it does on my PC, and kind of takes a lot of the load off as opposed to the what do you call it, the phone struggling. It seems like it's bitrate and encoding. I feel like the phone was having to do a lot of the work with the other streaming softwares. even while on my PC with OBS. But when I use Restream as the server, it seems to be just like taking a lot of the load off of the computer or the server or something. I don't know. It seems to work better in general with Restream. So hopefully I can multi-stream with Restream the fishing, and I can stream some more fishing, because I felt bad. I'm like, I don't want to stream to one platform and not the other and stuff, you know. Gotta be honest with you, fishing streaming kind of sucks anyways, because half the time I'm worrying about all the issues that are going on instead of just enjoying myself. But if we can do it issue free, hell yeah, we're doing it. Hey Joe, thank you for the $9.99 super. Thank you, my friend. Round of applause. Get some Li Flies hearts, or get some Albie emotes in the chat if you got them. If you remember here on YouTube. Appreciate it, my friend. Very kind of you. Very kind. You got to head out? Hey, Zeke. Thanks for hanging out, brother. Appreciate it. Have a great weekend, dude. No, very kind of you, Joe. Very, very kind of you. Thank you, my friend. Too kind. You've always been generous with those. No need, no need. Just hanging out. It's more than enough, but I do appreciate it, my friend. Thank you. We'll throw that in the old fly tying pot. The old material fund. Just trim these down here. I like laying it down on its side. You can kind of work on it like this. Nice and sparse. Look at that. You want to make sure this fly actually turns over properly as well, so. I should probably put autofocus on for that, but. The trim unit fund. Yeah, the trim unit fund. All right, let's glue some eyes on. Looking good. We should do our marble race, too. We should see, what are we doing first? Follower? Or we're doing sub? You know how we do it around here. We'll let the dice decide. Let's do that right now. We'll do it when we do it. It's fine. Oh, I know it's probably not that loud. It's louder in my mixer, but there's like some freaking sick rock riff going on right now in the song. All right. Oh, I know what we're going to do. We're going to play one of the new riffs that I have for the marble music. I have one new riff. It's called Ba 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 Da 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 Da. That's the one that we'll play. It's really the one that's most done. By most done, I mean I've recorded a couple samples for how I think I want the song to go. Got to get the transom in the water this year? Look, dude. Sheesh. One of these days, look, worst case, we can sit on the boat and pretend we're fishing. I'll like do a stream where we're sitting on the boat in my yard and I'm casting my rod. I'll have my dad pull on the rod. Whoa, whoa! And we'll get some fish from the fish market and hook it up. You know what I mean? Worst case, we could do that. But yeah, hopefully we get there. Look, dude. Make sure you like the videos. Make sure you use the your hype points, okay? Because I just tied an order of these flies. You want to know how much money I'm making? I'm making $30 because I had to order materials, do this and that. But I was like, screw it. I'm going to use the materials anyway for some videos and stuff and this and that. But luckily, we have a giant order of roosterfish flies, but it's going to take months of time to do so. But, you know, that's the life of the fly tire, right? Unless you're super resourceful and on top of it and coming up with special patterns and stuff. It's kind of, you know, it's a grind. It's the way she goes, though. It's better than having somebody, you know. Oh, what are we doing? I got to put eyes on. I was starting the next fly. We're not there yet. Let's finish. Let's throw some eyes on here. Glue these up real quick, and then we'll get to that here in a little bit. What we're going to do is we're going to tie a couple, like one or two for ourselves. Wargaming from the boat. There you go. On like a pontoon on a raft. Now, the problem with wargaming outside is the white balance is freaking terrible. because I filmed outside for some intro videos. The white balance is like a pain, unfortunately. But I have filmed an intro to a video in the snow. I made like a mountain route in the snow on my table. So I wouldn't mind doing something outdoors again at some point, because everyone loved that. They were like, "That's so sick. Is that actually snow?" I'm like, "Yes." So I plan on doing something in the future, maybe in the woods. But you need the right lighting, otherwise it gets blown out like crazy. So that's the issue, is like finding the right lighting. And then problem is, it takes a while to film these things, so you generally, the lighting changes throughout the course of the day outside, which is the issue. So you got to be quick, or you got to work over the course of a couple days and hope you have the same lighting. All right. Glue our eyes on these three, and then I'll let the eyes, I usually let the E6000 glue for at least 4 hours, if not a full day, before I put the liquid fusion on top, because you do want it to be fully cured before you mess with it, in my opinion. You can get away with it, but I'd rather have it fully cured before I coat it with another adhesive, you know what I mean? Just to be safe, quality-wise. And then last thing but not least, just make sure they're even before you chuck it. Gotta start a GoFundMe. That boy would get in there one day. Yeah, get in the marble race. We're gonna do the marble race soon. I don't know if it's gonna be sub or follower. We let the dice decide around here, so we'll see. But hop on Twitch and join the marble race. Hope I missed something. I gotta check. I gotta tab over. We got a bits for Mr. Lima with the 100 bits. Hey-o. Appreciate it, my friend. It's like $1. Just for in case you're wondering, chat. But that $1 right there, Lima, God, it looks good. You know what? You know what I'm gonna do with that $1, Lima? I'm gonna buy a cookie. Thank you, my friend. I'm gonna buy a chocolate chip cookie with macadamia nuts. I feel like for $1 you can get a good cookie nowadays, right? Because like, you can't set your expectations too high. You can't get like multiple cookies, but you can get a nice, like, I feel like I should at least get one nice cookie for $1 nowadays. Right? Like, I don't know what the cookie market's looking like. Like, what's a Subway cookie? Can I get a $1 cookie? No, it's probably like a $2 cookie at least, right? Oh, God, those Subway cookies are good. But I feel like I should be able to go somewhere and get a nice cookie, like a big cookie for $1. Please tell me we're still in America. You know what I mean? That's 1.5 SL12S is true. True. Yes, they are. All right. Thank you, Lima, for the 1 bit. Appreciate that. I could probably get a crumb. Hell yeah, dude. Now we got a cookie and a crumb. Sheesh. Yeah, we can get 1.5 hooks. Dude, 1 hook though? Shout out for Lima, dude. He just paid for the hook. He sponsored the hook. Hell yeah. Some Gamakatsus, baby. And a couple cookie crumbs on top. You can, they just don't exist? Yeah. I was going to say, like, I feel like you can't buy a cookie, like a nice, like a big cookie anywhere for $1. Like that. Just a normal cookie. When I say big cookie, just not the little tiny, you get like a bag of those tiny crap cookies. I'm talking about a real cookie. You know what I mean? With a little heft. I don't know if you could buy a cookie for $1 nowadays. Probably not, right? Off limits? Might be. Is that a Shroud emote? It is. I think so, at least. Or it's a Twitch emote with Shroud in it. It looks like. Global emote. Alright. No, you can't. Yeah, that's what I thought. No cookies for you. Well, you know what? I'll ask them if they can break a cookie in half for $1. I'll see if I can, like, look, can we work on it? Is this like some sort of, do we have like some sort of barter option? Can I give you guys half a bucktail and $1 for a full cookie? Can we do a half cookie situation? You know what I mean? God, I'm trying to think when's the last time I had a good cookie. Just like a big old cookie. It's been a long time. I don't eat a lot of sweets nowadays, particularly. Thank you for the bits, Frosty. I gotta turn down the noise a little bit on that. It's a little bit loud compared to everything else. But thank you, my friend, for the bits. I remember back in the day, we even had a Bits cup. Do you guys remember Bits cups? That's such like a 10 years ago thing on Twitch. Good old Bits cups. When's the last time you seen a Bits cup? All right. That's old school stuff. Be like, back in my day, we used to watch Twitch. They used to have a cup where the bits would fall in them. It's looking good. We got them glued up. All right. I think it's time we do this marble race, chat. So real quick, we got to find out. We have a marble race here. Not a lot of folks also. So hop in there if you're watching on Twitch. !play. Is it going to be subscriber or is it going to be follower? Right now, I think there's only 2 followers that are subscribers that are in there. But let's just say that on a 1 through 3, it's going to be followers. 4 through 6, subscribers. 5 through 6, subscribers it is. So this race, if you're subbed on Twitch, whether it be a Twitch 1, whether it be a Twitch Prime, a Tier 1, or Tier 2 or Tier 3, first marble in the pit is going to win some flies. And then immediately after, we'll start up the next one for followers. Okay. If you're watching on YouTube, I do apologize. There is no functionality for this game where you guys could type anything, but we will have a video coming up here soon on YouTube, which will be the giveaway video for the month, okay? That being said, you can, you know, for fun, if you want, you can type it. It's not going to do anything, but you can root for your favorite marble in the background on YouTube, all right? Good thing I'm both. Hell yeah, brother. You know, look, if you got them, I don't tell you folks to ever, because like subscribing on Twitch is similar to becoming a member on YouTube where you have to pay. But there's this thing called Twitch Prime. So if you have Amazon Prime, which 90% of the population does nowadays, because Amazon will take over the world, the price part of Skynet, you can use your Amazon Prime and then just link your Twitch account and you get a free sub every month. So that's the way I support Djibouti Show, for instance, a channel I watch. But so a lot of folks here do that, and what you're doing is if you're not doing that and you have Amazon Prime, Jeff Bezos is taking that money and putting Katy Perry in space. Do you want Katy Perry to go in space, or do you want your favorite Flytime streamer to buy half a cookie? That's supposed to be a laugh. And a cheer. So that being said, you can always use your Twitch Primes. Even if you don't watch on Twitch, I watch Djibouti Show on YouTube. I use my Twitch Prime just to make sure they get a little money every month. So, anyways, that being said, if you want 2 chances to win flies every month on Twitch, use your Twitch Primes. We're starting the marble race. Coming up here in a sec. Let's get some special Li Flies mic guitar tracks. Now, this is not recorded well. This is just me recording some, like, the idea of some, like, riffs. It's, like, pretty much just me recording riffs. But we're going to play this in the background because it's fun. Bro, Katy Perry, why? Okay. I love that. That was like such a abstraction of the English language, that bit right there, but I read it perfectly. All right, you ready, chat? For the marble race. We also have our basic riffs that I wrote. It might be fucking loud, so let's make sure it's not. All right. It's still kind of loud. You ready? Let's start it up. Let's go back all the way from here. All right, good luck, chat. First marble in the pit's going to win some flies. And by that, I mean the first subscriber. So it's going to be Craggerol and Frosty. Look at this. Look, all I'm saying is you make a Twitch account for the last Friday of the month. That's all I'm saying. Use your Jeff Bezos bucks, too. We got marble music. Custom marble music. Let's get it. 603 in the lead. Frosty and Craggerol close behind, though, getting hung up. Mr. Lima throwing some elbows. Let me turn this down. This is background music. All right, 603, though, looking pretty good. Again, not mixed. Probably not even in tune. Just writing some riffs down. Frosty, Lima, 603, Craggerol. I'm just showing off at this point. But again, first blue or green marble in the pit's going to be winning some flies here. 603, one thing we've learned is if you use all your special moves early on before the follower race, you might not win any flies. So you want to be careful there. Don't show all your special moves before the final race. But okay, he's backed off there. You see he backed off a little bit? I like it. Respect, respect. Really comes all down to this. Craggerol and Frosty. Oh, Frosty taking the right, Craggerol taking the left. Again, first paid subscription marble in the pit's going to win. After this, we have our freebie follower race. 603 getting hung up a little bit. Oh, but Craggerol weaving his way through the paddle. The paddle section slowing down Frosty. It all comes down to this. The Q-tip section. Is Craggerol going to be able to weave his way through first? 603 is looking good. Is he going to get pegged? We'll find out. Oh my god, though. Craggerol could get pegged. Oh, he's making it through. And ladies and gentlemen, round of applause. Craggerol with the win. Again, first marble with some color on their name in the pit. Other than me, who's going to be winning there. First subscriber. But don't worry. Lima, 603. We're restarting it up. We're doing our follower race. This goes for everybody. As long as you're following the channel on Twitch, you can win some flies. We're going to do this at the end of the stream, all right? That part's the best right here. Listen to this. Harmony. That's like the best part of the song. The rest of it's kind of whatever. All right. So we started it up. Round of applause, though. Congratulations, Craggerol, for the win. And we're going to get back to some fly tying for now. At the end of the stream, we'll do this last marble race here, okay? So let's see. We got the subscriber race in March, Craggerol. Which, good thing is I actually have to ship some flies out to you anyway. So you get a 2-for-1 ski going on. All right. Very cool. So let's tie another fly here. And this one will be for ourselves. And by ourselves, I mean me. And we'll have a fly for the springtime here. So exclamation mark play. You guys can hop in there now. And again, apologies to the folks on YouTube. But don't worry. We have a video. We do a giveaway. That'll be coming out here probably next week. We do have a video coming out tomorrow for this exact fly that we tied earlier. So I do appreciate you folks on YouTube. Don't think I don't. This is a tradition. We've been doing the marble races for years on Twitch. If I could do it on YouTube, I would. It just doesn't have the functionality. So, but I am thinking of ways that maybe, you know, we'll see. In the future, we'll figure something out. But we do a giveaway on YouTube every month. We try to at least. So. Yes. Every time a new marble race starts, you have to type exclamation mark play. Mm-hmm. And you don't got to drop a bit, Lima. You could just ask in the chat. No worries. Appreciate it. I got to turn it down. God, I got to blow my nose. Hold on, chat. I might go blow my nose real quick. I got to turn down the bit noise. The bit noise is so freaking loud, dude. So loud. All right, give me a sec. I'm going to go blow my nose because, like, it sounds like... You can tell I need to blow my nose. Alright. Oh god, that's better. I can actually breathe through my nose now. Well, I was stuffed up. I don't know what you want me to say. You could tell. I was talking was breathing through my mouth and everything. Alright. Let's try another one of these. This time we're going to have some fun. I'm going to try and put the weight back here. And I'm not going to wrap it. I'm going to tie it on the bottom. And let's see what happens. It'll be kind of like... we could wrap it, I suppose. Alright, let's wrap it back here. Like all the way back here. Let's see what happens. All the way in the back of the bend. I'm curious. We gotta wrap it more than that, otherwise it's gonna come off for sure. That might be enough if I go light. Yeah. Alright, I'll wrap this up. I'm gonna push it down the hook shank as well. Like I should be able to, I think. Yeah, like that. Then we'll try this. Somewhere around there. Have that weight in the rear of the fly, you know? Had a good heat wave in the California Delta. Striper bite's turned on. Very nice, NASCAR. Hope you're doing well, James. Yeah, we're getting ready. We got striper season coming up soon. I hope so. We got, hopefully our bite gets turned on. We had a pretty lackluster spring, but I'm hoping we'll have a better one. You have to have high hopes in the spring, especially for April. If you can't get doom and gloom in April. We'll see what happens in May. We'll see what I sound like in May. I mean, at least we'll have worm hatches in May. So I think it's in May. Yeah. May is the worm hatch time. And the bluefish. I always got something, but man, I want a good striper bite in the spring this year. I just like walking down by my house and bringing in a beer and catching a couple bass, you know what I mean? At the sunset, that's my favorite. Just a little salt pond, nothing crazy, nothing the biggest fish you'll ever see, a crazy fishery, but just go down, catch a couple schoolies, enjoy a beer. Without having to drive, obviously. You don't want to drink and drive. Watch the sunset, catch a bass or two, walk back in my waders. It's kind of what I've done for the past 20-something years. So the prediction on charts and the schoolies should be showing up. I hate those. I love on the water. I hate the on the water striper chart thing or whatever. All right. It is good because it does inspire hope, and we need hope as fishermen. But God, sometimes those charts are like, I don't know, a little crazy. in their predictions. Of the on the water ones. It's like, well, the 40 pounders should be here now. They're starting to show up. It's red. And I'm like, yeah, okay. It's kind of a joke between all the striper guys out here with the on the water chart thing. But it is good. It's a generalized thing, right? It's just funny. We rip on it a lot locally. Catch and cook fish tacos on the beach with a beer. Woo-hoo. Well, I let the stripers go, but I'm down. I'm more of like a steak or a chicken taco, but I do I do like a good fish taco. Luckily for striped bass over, at least on the East Coast stripers, they don't have a good healthy population, so I don't eat stripers. I'll let them go. The West Coast ones, I don't know about you. They might be a little they might be up for grabs. They need to watch out. This has way more weight on it. We'll see what happens. I've killed one striped bass and eaten it way back in the day. Since then, I've let go every striped bass I've ever caught. Because even when I was a kid, dude, striped bass populations were an issue. And now it's been 20-something years, and it's only gotten worse out here. So, you know, it's nothing wrong with keeping striped bass, but I personally just would rather watch them swim away. But that's the East Coast fishery, which is way different. So I'm sure if you were up in Canada, eat them all you want. There's so many of them. Yeah, they're out of control over where you are. Yeah. I mean, they were introduced, right? They're not even native, so I wouldn't even feel bad about it. As long as it's a healthy fishery, you know. What we have right now is not a healthy fishery, so I don't keep striped bass on the East Coast. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Dan Blanton was talking about fishing on the West Coast in the latest Masters of the Fly. It was a great episode. You should check it out. That fly, the Whistler, was developed for the Delta region in California. So, and fishing all over Cali. A lot of history in that fly with California striper fishing. He was one of the pioneers of California striper fishing. So, great episode. I highly recommend you check it out. Oh, this time I remember we screwed up the feathers. I wanted to do the feathers and do them differently. That's what it was. I wanted to do the pectoral fins. Yeah, eating the salmon fry. Yep. Yeah, like the small scale menhaden fishing we were doing is like the tiniest drop in the bucket compared to these commercial menhaden fishing they do. The problem is the special interest legislation they have going on. They have like politicians paid off down in like Virginia and all these states. They have lawyers that are multi-million-dollar lawyers fighting for them. So trying to fight for the menhaden fishery right now is like really tough. And it's not only a thing that recreational fishermen need to be fighting, but also small-scale commercial fishermen like my old boss. Even though I don't do that anymore, that sort of fishery is important. Like small-scale bunker fishing should be a thing for local commercial fishermen. You know what I mean? Like you should be able to have a healthy menhaden fishery and be able to harvest a couple thousand pounds. There's nothing wrong with that. It's the large-scale Omega Corp Canadian-backed corporations using helicopters and giant boats out in the ocean that leave New Jersey or Virginia and come to New York or Massachusetts and catch a bunch of bunker off the out in the ocean. Yeah, that's a hard thing, dude. I don't think you know. I don't know if we'll ever see a pure catch and release or a. And you have issues with catch and release. We've talked about it. Catch and release fishing for striped bass, they have mortality rates as well. But I don't know if we'll ever see a non-harvest striped bass season. I think what we'll see is either a straight-up moratorium or we have harvesting. I wish we had just a catch-and-release fishery for striped bass. But that would drastically change the fishing industry here in the East Coast and probably put a lot of people out of business, like charter boat captains and stuff. But to be fair, I think a lot of those people are part of the issue when it comes to the striped bass industry and when it comes to the population, these party boats out in Montauk that don't even put the boat out of gear to reel these cow fish in. They're pretty much dead by the time they throw them back. Take 15 photos with them too. But, you know, that being said, it would be pretty drastic, a drastic change. So I don't know if they'll ever do anything like that. So, yeah, it's really tough. I don't know. We talk about this a lot. It pops up because it's such an important thing, you know what I mean? Like, the future of the striped bass fishing industry is directly related to this YouTube channel and this Twitch channel. Whether or not I do this in 30 years from now, and we're still talking, you guys are still tuning into this stream and tying flies with me. You know, so we'll see. I don't know. Just something we can think about, I guess. But it's important to check out the Saltwater Guide Association. They do a fantastic job. Peter Jenkins from saltwaterflies.com, but I highly recommend. They just do a fantastic job for all fisheries around the United States. But the Saltwater Guide Association, also check out Stripers Forever. Stripers Forever has been around since I was a kid, and they've been fighting to make striped bass a game fish. And for stricter regulations. So if you want to actually try and see if your voice can make a difference, those are the people that'll kind of have you'll have the best bet of, you know, them helping putting your message along. So whenever anything pops up for the ASMFC or pops up for New York State, I always try and submit my comments on it because it directly affects whether or not I'm able to do this for a living, right? I'm in New York. Our slot is 23 to 28 inches above the George Washington Bridge, but I don't keep them, any of them anyways. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Is that because it's a... Really, in the Hudson fishery up there, it's 23 to 28. Really? When it's 28 to 36 everywhere else? Wow, that's crazy. I actually, I've never heard that before. But I guess it's kind of like you're close to the freshwater fishery, so maybe they treat it like it's that. That's interesting. I've never heard that, though, before, Jaleka. How's the fishing been up there relative to, you know, how's the fishing been in the past couple years? Have you been seeing a lack of, like, the smaller schoolie fish like we have out here on Long Island and other places? Or has your fishing been pretty consistent with previous years? 18 to 28. Oh, wow, that's interesting. I didn't know that. I mean, dude, the last time it was 18 inches on Long Island and for the rest of New York State was back when in like the 90s. So that's pretty crazy. I didn't know that. I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? But still, I'm actually surprised that they don't just kind of keep it in line because and what is it? Andromedus? Or no, we've gone over this. Andomorphous. We've done this on stream. We've had Google pronounce it for me. I still will never pronounce it correctly, but they move from freshwater to salt. So, like, the saltwater regulatory striped bass fishery, like, the regulations in it are so strict. But in the freshwater that it connects to, where the spawning striped bass go to, it's way less. That's crazy. It's almost like I mean, they are the fish that will end up out in Montauk. You know what I mean? So it's kind of crazy that they have different regulation for the Hudson, but maybe there's also just resident smaller fish that are in there or something. I don't know. Must mean that there's just way more fish up there that they allow you guys to keep them in smaller sizes, but only implemented it last year. Well, I'm just talking about in general. What's your fishing been like? Have you noticed that there's less smaller fish? Like, I'm noticing, and it's something a lot of people are noticing, less of the schoolies because the problem is they haven't had successful spawning for those schoolie-sized fish to be prevalent. So we're seeing a lot of fish from 28 upwards of 20 pounds. So you're seeing fish up to 20 pounds quite regularly on bunker pods and this and that. It's not like they're everywhere, but you are seeing those like bigger fish. But I'm not seeing the fish that are 8 inches to 18 inches or 24 inches. It's around the 24-inch mark we're starting to see fish. When previously we had fishes from all ranges in the springtime. Not the giants, the cows, but you'd get the schoolies up towards like the mid 30s. So the problem is they didn't have good spawning 5-6 years ago, and the fish that would now be 18 to 20 inches, they never were born because the spawns were really bad. That's the thing I'm talking about. So I'm just wondering if you're seeing that up in the Hudson, or maybe where you are, you're dealing with a different fishery, so you're not seeing as much of an impact, because that's kind of like the fish come from the Hudson, leave out into the saltwater, but there's also resident Hudson fish, right? Anadromous. Okay, there you go. I was saying Andromeda is anadromous. Anadromous. Don't worry, Gene. This is why I have it. This is why I have chat. You'll have to remind me 6 months from now, okay? Also, how you doing, Gene? Noticed a lot of 30-inch range being kept, which was the main breeders up here, but I've caught them from 15 inches to 26 consistently. Yeah, I think you're dealing with a different, almost sort of fishery. Even though we get Hudson genetic fish, we also get fish from other places where they spawn, but because there's Chesapeake and there's Hudson. Yeah, interesting. You're dealing with like a almost like a freshwater fishery sort of deal, or like the outflow of the Hudson into the bay there or whatever. All right, so I'm gonna add a pectoral fin here because we did the side fins, but we're also gonna do like, let's do this now. We're gonna add like these rear tiny fins like this. You'll see. Oh, we should do it like this. Yeah, I forgot we're doing our feathers backwards for the fins. The idea is I want to simulate the fins on the bait fish. That's what we're doing. Here, weird weather. We have year-round fish, thick 16 to 22. Then our moving fish are already up on the flats doing their thing. Yeah. It's interesting because, like, previously you would generally have two classes of fish. You would have, like, schoolies. Some would be resident. Some would be migratory. And then you would move up to, like, the 28 to 30-something inch fish. You know what I mean? Like 36 or something. Where you would not classify them as schoolie bass anymore. You know what I mean? And you will get waves of giant, like big fish, 30, 40s, but it's not like the same thing. It's not like back in the 90s or something where you had crazy amounts of those fish. But nowadays it seems like we're getting less and less small fish in general. And if you look at the data for the spawns in the Chesapeake, for instance, and stuff, they've been terrible, and it kind of correlates to why there's just a lack of juvenile fish in general on the East Coast at the moment. Doesn't mean they're not there, but like if you consistently fish for the past 20, 30 years in some of these locations, we're seeing drastic changes in the past couple of years in the amount of fish we're seeing. So last year, all the fish I caught were between the smallest being 32 and my biggest was 44. But I caught 40 fish last year in that range. Not one was in the slot. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of larger fish. Doesn't mean there's a ton of those large fish, but those are the fish you're seeing, I should say. I think it's also, do these fishes being kept in the creeks during winter, like in the Chesapeake River and the ponds, some eat all the bait to survive, and when spring comes out they spawn really early in low water and they don't have to seem to swim up north. So you think a lot of fish aren't migrating? No, I mean that's the thing though. This isn't like, I think no matter what, these fish, whether they know it or not, there's something that forces them to do this every year. It's not only the drive of temperature, but it's the bait. Everything is migrating. So, I mean, I'm sure there's some resident fish, but I mean, if you look at the data, I think it's the fact that just striped bass numbers are down and the spawns are down. You know what I mean? I don't think it's that the fish are staying down there in the Chesapeakes and not coming up. There might be some doing that. There's always going to be resident fish, but I think it's a combination of environment, probably like pollution and habitat loss. It has to do with just fishing cyclical cycle, like the cycles of fish and how sometimes they are prevalent and not. This is just a natural thing, whether there's human influence or not. Something that we learned in commercial fishing. And then, of course, there's the human aspect of the recreational and commercial fishing, because both commercial and recreational play a big part in the striped bass, on the health of the striped bass fishery. We've all seen the dudes dragging fish up the beach, gut hooking bass. It's not just the boats that are commercially fishing. It's also recreational fishermen that are killing a lot of striped bass. That's just the reality of the situation. And there's a lot of people out there who just won't change their ways and are old school and handle these fish and don't give two shits. And until that changes, until the commercial fishing industry finds a healthy balance, we're going to have these issues. So it's just the reality of it. I think it's easy to place all the blame on the commercial, but I think we also need to acknowledge that there is a significant amount of fish. They've done we have data from the commercial, from the recreational fishing, and the catch and release mortality rates. So there needs to be like a program where you want to fish for striped bass, you need to take a course and understand like how to handle these fish. And there should be a law to where if you handle these striped bass too much, you can get fined. And that's like, now we're getting to the point to where how do you even dictate that? And now we're getting into some weird thing where like someone could power trip and just charge you if they wanted to. So I don't like stuff like that. But it's like, how do we encourage people not to take 15 photos of fish, drag them on the beach, hold them by the gills, weigh them, do this, wipe your hands off. Oh, honey, go get the camera, do this, and then next thing you know, they throw it back in the water, then dead. You know what I mean? How do you encourage safe handling with the everyday fisherman? Because there's a lot of people that don't care about this like we do. They think of it as, it's fish, who cares? You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that just don't give two shits. So, yeah, stop holding a 40-pound fish vertically by the jaws. Imagine someone held you by your neck and suspended you by your neck and was holding you like that. Like, that's not a good way to support it. You have to support them by the belly. Super important. You can like dislocate their jaw almost by like holding them like that, There's all sorts of damage you could do where you could tear the cartilage in their mouth and all sorts of stuff. I feel like most of the people that watch this channel, because we do fly tying and fly fishing content, most people have an understanding. It's not that there are fly fishermen and women out there that don't mishandle fish. I'm sure there are. But I feel like it's much more like it's just the general fishing population, because it's way wider and there's just people that do it that don't have as much experience. People are less educated. Excuse me. So I can make a video, but I bet you half the people that watch this stuff, I'm preaching to the choir is what I'm saying. You guys know all this stuff. I'm really just ranting right now. It's not like what I'm saying is going to have a difference on any of you in chat. Almost all of you already know this stuff. You know what I mean? But, probably not the worst thing in the world. I try to preach it as much as I can. Basically, yeah, well, it helps not to drag them, I mean, you have to do it when you're fishing in the surf. There's no other way fishing in the beach, but like the idea is to like not drag them on the beach too much, wash them off, not keep them. The main thing is keep them wet as long as you can. Don't keep them out of the water. You can take a photo, take a quick one, take a photo while the fish is in the water, in the boat, lean over the boat, you know what I mean? So, but it's tough. Who's to say, let's say you spend $1,000 to take your family out fishing for the day on a charter. You guys go fishing, the kids, you catch a bunch of fish. Is the fishing guide, you guys paid tons of money to go fishing with? Is he gonna tell you, All right, we got one photo. Quick, 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 get it back in the water. Meanwhile, the kid wants to take a bunch of pictures. You know what I mean? It's tough. So it's hard to say, like, you know, are people going to be open to, like, change their ways and, like, take it seriously? Because there's people that are, like, there are people like striped bass are tough. You can do whatever you want. It's fine. You know what I mean? But, like, every 5-10 seconds that fish is out of the water, you're increasing the likelihood of it not surviving. So you can act like they're super tough fish, and they are. They're not bonefish. Doesn't mean you should leave them out of the water for a minute and a half. You know what I mean? But I don't know. It's going to be tough. I really don't know what the health of the striper fishery is going to be like 30 years from now. Am I going to be still tying flies commercially? Like, I'm sure striper fishing's going to be a thing. They're not going to go extinct. But is it going to be as good? Like, what happens if the fishery is just crap? And, like, you know, people just stop striper fishing. You know what I mean? Like what happened in the moratorium or something. So, I don't know. It's going to be tough. We'll see. It is important, though. That's why it is important to pay attention and, you know, vote with your, you know, or speak with your votes and all that, and write to your congressman or comment on the ASMFC hearings, and that's all you can do. I've had to go up in front of people and be like, yo, dude, either put that fish back or I'm calling the freaking DEC. Like, because if you're keeping that fish, then you're poaching, because that's an undersized fish. And you've had that fish out of the water. Like, what are you doing, dude? Like, are you going to keep this fish or what? Like, what, are you just killing it for fun? Like, what are we doing here? There are times where me and my buddies have almost gotten to, like, fist fights on the bridge back in the day when I was in high school and had much hotter temper when we saw people poaching striped bass. So we had to deal with some people over the years, because you run into shady characters fishing out at 3-4 o'clock in the morning. People poaching. Just some people that aren't even, they don't mean bad, but they're just like, they don't know how to handle fish and stuff, you know, as well. Like stepping on the fish, pulling the hook out, you know, it's like gut hooked, and you're just like, oh my God, dude. It's like, I'm sitting there watching, and I'm like, oh my God, I gotta leave right now. I'm getting so upset just even thinking about it. You know? Yeah, you gotta have it ready, keep it in the water, and then put it immediately back. Yeah, I always tell, my buddy is always trying to get good photos. I'm like, take 2 photos for the love of God. He's always like, whoa, one more. I'm like, I'm throwing it back right now. I don't care. If my head was stuck underwater right now, this was about the point to where I'd be like, you know what? I think I want to go back. I don't want to drown, so I want my head to be out of the water right now. That's where I usually, I've talked about this last stream. I usually put myself in the fish's position. At what point do I start freaking out that my head's underwater? And that's where I'm like, all right, let me get this fish back. It's been like 10, 15 seconds. Like, let's get it back in the water. You know what I mean? It's already too long. It's so easy to, like, just want to freaking take a bunch of photos and hold it and be like, hold on, let me get another photo. Let me, hold on. Okay, yep. And next thing you know, it's been like 45 seconds, a minute. This fish has been out of the water. You know what I mean? So, is the fish going to live? Probably. But is there a chance that you fought it for so long and it built up enough lactic acid in its muscles to where you left it out of the water long enough to take some photos to where it swims away, but it ends up turning over and dying 5 minutes later? Yeah, it's a possibility. So you got to think about that, you know? So this is the greatest thing. I really do love the folks from Keep Fish Wet. I really do, because they figured it out. All you got to do, the motto, keep fish wet. Just keep them wet. Keep them in the water to where they can breathe. And when you're ready, you could do something, whatever, you know, but just the least amount of handling, the least amount of tomfoolery, the more likely the fish is going to survive. So, in general, you folks know this. I don't need to preach it. But we'll do it. We'll do it. Called the DC on a dude last year because he tried keeping a 38 in a crowded public park, and then he tried fighting me over it. Yeah. There's been many times where we've had to yell at people. I had my buddy who, he's a Mexican immigrant. His family's from Mexico. I don't remember if he was even born here or not, but so he speaks Spanish. And we had this one guy that was coming and poaching every night, and we had to finally confront him. And we were like, dude, if you keep doing this shit, like, we have evidence and records of you doing this. Like, you need to stop this, otherwise we're calling the DC. And this guy tried getting all up in our faces. But luckily I haven't had to fight anybody, but we came close a couple times, so the guy ended up leaving immediately once we, told him we were calling the DEC. But like, the audacity of some of these people when it comes to poaching is ridiculous. And like, there's so many spots on Long Island that I don't fish. I guarantee you there's people doing this exact same thing all over the place. And you want to know the fun part? There's literally like 10 DEC officers, or 12 for the entirety of Long Island. So how are 12 people going to cover millions of people? They can't. So you know there's people out there doing all sorts of shady crap. It's not worth getting into a fist fight over, though, I'll tell you that much. You're going to get stabbed. Somebody actually got stabbed on the bridge over a argument when it came to like fishing here in my town not long ago. A couple of years ago. I think it was like 5-6 years ago. Somebody got stabbed. This is not New York City. This is a nice quiet area on Long Island. But I tell you what, dude, it's free parking. So you get people coming from all over New York to come fish out here. So you better watch out. When it's 3 a.m. on a bridge somewhere where it's super dark, you never know. Some people are out of their freaking mind. But I will not hesitate to be like, dude, you're either throwing that fish back or I'm calling the DEC right now. I've done it multiple times. I don't care. Like, you think I'm bullshitting you? I got their number on speed dial, bro. Like, try me. Which car are you driving? That's what I always ask them. Which car did you drive? Because there's like, you know, there's like a very tight parking over there. I'm like, put the fish back in the water. That ain't 28 inches. Keep on fishing, all right? Otherwise, we're going to have an issue. I'll just throw like a random name out there. I'm calling Derek, all right, from the DEC, all right? I've met a ton of different DEC officers over the years, not only from fishing shows, but also from commercial fishing. So I have a couple different DEC officer numbers and stuff from the island. Because instead of trying to call the DEC, you can actually talk to officers and be like, yo, you're the guy that like patrols this area or something, you know what I mean? Because again, there's only so many DEC officers in the area, so. And this is what I've learned too. If you talk to them, New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, they not only deal with fishing, they deal with hunting. They also deal with, if you go to an automotive store, if somebody goes, hey, this automotive store has been dumping oil in the storm drain, they have to go deal with that. So they're like dealing with like 40 different things, not just fishing and hunting. So a DEC officer in New York State, they're very kind of spread thin on Long Island and New York State. I mean, there's some counties up in New York State where DEC officers have to cover such a large range. You know what I mean? It's crazy. I'm sure you've seen it, like, you know, up in like, what is it, Maine or Canada? They have some of those shows with the game wardens where like one game warden will cover like the entirety of a county or something, you know? It's that sort of thing. It becomes really tough to actually efficiently, like, you know, do law enforcement when it's like one law enforcement officer for like an entire area. But I've talked to him, you know, because I'm like, hey, you know, oh yeah, I do commercial fly tying, I do the shows, I know some DEC officers, or oh yeah, it was commercial fishing. So we were talking when I was with my boss as a commercial fisherman, like you end up knowing all the DEC officers or something, for instance. So we're like, oh, we're talking with them and this and that, you know what I mean? And so I was like, isn't there like only like a handful of you guys on the whole island? They're like, yep, essentially. So it makes it really easy for scumbags to get away with doing vile stuff, for sure. Like poaching, things like that. There's people that go out on their boat, they catch like 30 flounder or fluke, and they sell them to like Italian restaurants. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. I know because I used to work in an Italian restaurant. I saw a dude doing this back in the day. And I didn't know any better. I would have reported his ass to the DEC back then. I was too young back then to know any better. But there's all sorts of stuff that's going on. So they have a hard enough time as is nowadays trying to enforce stuff. So that being said, that being said, I'm sure the future of striped bass is nice and bright. It's really up to us, right? The people, so. That's all. I'm sure it'll get better. It'll get better. Fishing's cyclical, but we can't act like there isn't a problem going on, so. Hopefully, they figure things out. I'm all for stricter regulations. Just give us super strict regulations. I don't care. I just want striped bass to be a thing 60 years from now. The best time to teach a youngster on how to and why to release a fish is when you teach them how to catch a fish. Yeah, you got to teach them young. It definitely comes from like the grandpappy who kicked the fish back in the water or was like, "Ah, man, that's striped bass. You can keep that striped bass. You can hit it in the head with a baseball bat, and that thing'll be fine." You know what I mean? You gotta teach them young for sure. You can teach an old dog how to handle a fish, but it helps early on to teach them how to respect animals in general. Like if you're not gonna kill it and eat it, treat it with as much respect as possible. You know, that's the way I was raised. So I'm a complete novice on catching and handling saltwater fish. When inshore fishing, is there a preferred tool to use to de-hook your saltwater fish? Pair of pliers. Debarb the hook. I always recommend crushing the barb. You don't need a barb in a hook. You're going to limit the amount of hassle it takes to pop the hook out. So that's the least amount of handling. And God forbid you do hook a fish in the gills. They survive a lot more when you debarb the hook. The other thing is, with a striped bass, you can just hold their mouth with your thumb. If it's a bluefish, you can't really do that, so you can grab them behind the head. But they do make tools to where you can slip into their mouth and hold them. The main thing is you don't want to hold the fish and support it by the jaw, right? You want to hold it by the belly. So you have it by the jaw, whether it's a tool or your hand for a striped bass, and you want to support it by the belly. You don't want to hold it and have it in, like, you know how they do it with largemouth bass in bass tournaments? That is not good for the fish. It's proven not to be good for largemouth bass. When they hold them by the lip and bend them like that or hold them up. It's like, imagine if somebody was lifting your entire body weight by your jaw. You know what I mean? It's a good way to think of it. So you want to support their belly weight, but really the main thing is, whether it's a striped bass or bluefish, try and keeping them in the water as much as possible. I like to de-hook them in the water. And whether it's a pair of pliers, generally you don't need a pair of pliers. You just grab the fly with your hands. It's debarbed. Striped bass don't have teeth. And you put your thumb in their mouth while it's in the water, and what you do is you're like this. This is the striped bass. I'm holding its thumb in my mouth like this, and I just take the fly and go pop it out, and I go like this. I swim the fish back and forth so it gets some water through its gills for about 10 seconds. I turn it around, hold its tail, and usually the fish will kick its tail, and that means it's good to go. You know what I mean? That's how I usually handle them. Now again, fish with teeth, you might need to grab them from behind the head. Let's say this was the head of the fish. You can grab them behind the head like this with light pressure, and not on the gill plates. So like behind it. But the other way is you can kind of grab them by the tail and then hold them underneath like this. If it's a toothy fish, right? But you kind of grab them like this, pop the hook out, and then you can put them back in. They do make a tool. You can grab them like a boga grip or like a plastic grip, but you don't necessarily have to use one. Again, minimal handling, debarbing the hook, keeping them in the water. It's the most important steps when it comes to saltwater fishing. And something you got to think about, like, you know, make sure they have a little bit of time before you release them. If you have to, you know, you can kind of revive them, do the revive, if you will, where you kind of swim them back and forth a little bit. They'll let you know when they're ready. But usually if you handle them minimally, you don't have to revive them. Yep. Yeah, if you are dealing with really toothy fish, you can grab them, like I said, like a bluefish. You'll see a lot of people grab a bluefish. Its mouth is right here, and its teeth, and they'll be like this. They'll kind of grab them back here behind the gill plate and hold them behind the head, or like in front of the gill plate, right behind the head. But what you can do is you can grab them by the tail, and then if you have they make a thing that's like, it looks like a pair of pliers, but it's a plastic, and it's just like smooth plastic, and that's a fish lipper. So like you can slip it into the mouth, and it goes like this into their mouth, so their teeth can close or whatever, and then you can grab them like this and hold them, and then always support the belly. That's the most important thing with if it's smaller, you can a small, really small striped bass, you could hold it by the mouth or something, but try and support it is the idea. So, the least amount of handling, the most minimal handling you can do, keeping them wet. And just picture if you were being handled, if you were being manhandled, you were the fish, how would you want to be held, right? That's all. And believe me, a lot of these fish are very tough, but anything you can do to help increase your chances of the fish surviving is always a good thing, right? If you're not eating, this is the way I was raised, if you're not going to eat it, you want to do whatever you can to ensure that this thing's going to survive, right? Because you've already hooked it in the mouth against its will, dragged it through the water, and now it's in the air. It's like, all right, can you please put me back, sir? It's like, yeah, I got you. Just try and treat it how you'd want to be treated. Don't put it on any sort of dry surfaces. If you are going to land a fish and you have to put it on the ground or something, hopefully you don't, but let's say maybe you do, wet the ground first. Don't put it on like sand or dirt if you have to. I mean, sometimes you have to drag a fish on the beach, but, try to do it minimally and when the wave has washed up so it's not getting torn up. But like all these things can make a difference. Same thing for trout. You're supposed to wet your hands before you touch a trout, because your hands can, your dry hands can take the fish's natural slime off, which is a protectant. It protects it from diseases and all sorts of stuff. So you're supposed to wet the surface. You're supposed to wet your hands. You're not supposed to put it on a hot canoe bench, or whatever seat, right? Those are the same sort of things you do in freshwater. But, as somebody who's fishing and catch and release fishing, it's up to you or up to us and our responsibility. There's nobody enforcing this. There's no laws saying you can't take, saying you have to put the fish back right away after catching them. You could take a bunch of photos. You could be an asshole and kill the fish and throw it back. But it's up to us to kind of, be the stewards of the land and, try and respect it. So that's, part of being a good fisherman is, knowing all these things. So, and I think most people do, whether it's spin fishing, fly fishing. I think most people do, but there are some people that just don't care, unfortunately, that kind of ruin it for the rest of us. And that's kind of the issue, right? But I do think the majority of people out there that do love fishing and stuff like that, they do understand this stuff. At least hopefully they had somebody in their family that taught them. I kind of had to learn this stuff myself, but these are the same lessons you get in life, whether it's fishing. My parents taught me this stuff, and it's not even fishing related. Just be nice to animals and stuff, This is somebody that hunts too, I hunt. But not everybody had the same upbringing or same, so it's... A lot of people don't have the connection with nature and stuff, so... Anyways, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about anymore. This is getting to the point in the stream where we're getting close to the end because I'm getting philosophical. Yeah, no problem, Collins. That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. That's what I'm saying. Like, it does feel somewhat almost redundant at times. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure most of you folks know all this stuff. Like, you have the same outlook and everything, so... Like, I don't want to just be speaking to, but, I don't know, maybe we should make video topics on these in the future one day. We got our feathers. Look, we got our little fin feathers off the sides. I'm going to glue some eyes on here. Oh, before we do that, let me put these away, just so we don't make a mess. Remember the stream rule, we got to put our fly time material before we wrap up, so that way we don't get lazy and leave everything laying out. And the beautiful Flash and Slinky deserves to go back into its package. And we want to put the fluoro fiber, of course. Where is your package, fluoro fiber, Mr. Fluoro? Let's glue some eyes on here real quick. We'll do our marble race, and then I'm gonna go eat some food, chat. Because we've been, somebody call Keith. We've almost hit the 3-hour mark. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. Praise the fly time Lord. Mike Ross. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with keeping fish, right? Especially with the healthy fishery like fluke or something. I'll keep a fluke every now and then, especially when I have my boat. But, yeah, you know, I'm not big on white fish in general. I'm big on sushi, but we can't really, I mean, I guess you can, but I'm more into, like, eating tuna and yellowtail and certain species of fish like that. And, you know, these white fish that you get out here aren't really set up for that sort of stuff or the same sort of fish. You can eat striped bass sushi. I've had it before. Or sashimi. It's delicious. That being said, though, I also just don't like killing fish as much. Like a fluke I'll eat, you know, or a sea bass, but I'm not a big fish guy in general. In general, I'm not a big fish guy. So. Yeah, get in there, Southern Fly Guy. We're about to do our Twitch race here, and we're going to wrap things up. Chat, thank you so much for hanging out tonight. I hope you folks had an awesome time. I got my order of these Cowan's baitfish duns. We tied up another one. We chatted. We had some philosophical striped bass conversations. Always a good time. Yeah, I like those little extra feathers in there. They kind of give us like the little bit more 3D profile to the fly, huh? Looks kind of interesting. All right, very nice. Very, very nice. Now, I believe it is time. We shall do the marble race. So, chat, if you haven't, !play if you're watching on Twitch. If you're watching on YouTube, then stay tuned. We'll have a video here probably next week with a giveaway, but you can always hop over to Twitch. And, what do you call it? Another successful 3-hour stream, a fly time, if I do say so myself. Let's switch it up. I think I have another song that we could use. What about D's Nuts Middle East? Or what about Slip and Slide? I think it's the D's Nuts Middle East. That's how I name my tracks. Because it's in D. I think this one will work. It ain't no Epidemic Marble music, but I tell you what, it's something. All right, chat. Looking good. Hell yeah, Zeke. All right. This is going to be our last marble race of the night. If you want a chance to win some flies, head on over to Twitch, !play. First follower marble, any marble in the pit other than mine, will be winning some flies. Who do we got in here? We got Mr. Lima, Craigerroll, Frosty, and Southern Fly Guy. So right now you guys have a 1 in 4 chance of winning. Well, I guess it'd be 1 in 5 if you joined. But that being said, chat, we do have our Henry Cowan's jig bait fish coming out tomorrow on YouTube. So make sure to watch that. And we'll be streaming again on Friday, some more fly time. I think before the next fly time stream, we're going to have another video coming out because we were kind of slow on this one. So I want to I want to make sure I hit the at least like 5 fly time videos a month. So we got another, I don't know what, whether it's a magnum bait fish or something different. I don't know. But we're going to have another video probably coming out middle of next week as well. So you're excited to try out the new sabiki rigs you tied up. Oh, wow. You know what? That's funny. I've used sabiki rigs over the years. I've never tied my own. I don't really do it anymore, but I'm surprised I never tied my own sabiki. You know what? I just never was good with the knots and like figuring out how to tie rigs. I bet you if I knew how to tie rigs, I would have tied my own sabiki little flies, because it's really just a piece of flash, right? But I'm actually surprised I never actually made my own. It's probably because I'm not very good with making those complicated rigs.
Thanks for doing these shows. I know it's work.
Hey, Southern Fly Guy, thank you, my dude, with the 22 months. So kind of you. Thank you again, my friend. Very, very kind to you. And, hey, you know what? Look, I don't know how, it's been like 8 years we've been streaming fly tying now. So, it's kind of just ingrained in our DNA at this point to stream at least once a week fly tying. So, it's a little work. But, you know, we've gotten the hang of it over the years, so I appreciate it. But thank you again, my friend. Thank you for the support with the Tier 1, and it means a lot. Get some LI Flies hearts or some Albie emotes if you're watching on YouTube. And, yeah, just you folks tuning in is really more than enough support, liking the video or whatever, following, do whatever you got to do. But if you got a Twitch Prime or you got a little, you know, membership, it does help out a lot. But that being said, just tuning in and just being here, making sure I don't go crazy talking to myself really means a lot. So I do appreciate it. So I wouldn't do it without you folks. So otherwise I'd be talking to myself. And I spent a year doing that when I first started streaming. We ain't doing that again. All right, start it up, Jerry. Last marble race of the night. With the new song, D's Nuts, Middle East. Start it up! It's because it's got, my dad's Turkish, so he's got a certain scale he plays, and that's why it's going to be a bit. This is just a riff, though. Fuck yeah! Frosty's off in the lead. This is just me recording a riff, right? This is not mixed, nothing. Alright, I'm gonna make a ton of excuses. Alright, Craggerroll is looking good though. Craggerroll is in the lead. He's saying, yeah. But I'm saying, no. You already won, so. It's gonna be Southern Fly Guy, Frosty, or Lima. Again, you can't double win. We come up with the rule. No double wins. But Craggerroll is looking good. He is a professional marble racer and is part-time, something you don't know. Frosty, though, taking the left here, potentially getting himself a place in the lead. We're going to be hitting the jump. Oh! Oh, this is the end of the race! Oh! What the? It's whoever gets the middle wins? Oh my god. It's a bullseye. Round of applause. Holy guacamole. This is a... I haven't done this marble race, I think, but congratulations. Actually, a bullseye race. I mean, Craggerroll got there first, but Frosty was right there, right behind him, and then Southern Fly Guy. But very cool. We actually had a bullseye. And it looks like Frosty got the win. Mr. Lima very close with a... I don't think it's going to like let me look at the map without this crap in front of me. But Frosty got himself that bullseye. Congratulations. I've never seen a marble race where it's not the first marble in the pit. That is so cool. But congratulations, Frosty, with the... If I can see it. There we go. With that land right in the center there. Shout out to Frosty with the win. Because time... Yeah, it doesn't show us time-wise. Very nice. Congratulations, Frosty. Again, round of applause. Yeah, cool map. I've never seen a marble race like that. We're going to have to remember the bullseye track. That was precision marble racing. That wasn't speed. That was precision. Tie the fly, snell it. Main line, figure 8. Run through, figure 8, do 4. Okay, gotcha. Luckily, I don't even know how to do that anymore. The game is rigged, yeah. Can we get an exclamation mark rigged in the Twitch chat, please? I need an exclamation mark rigged. All right, you love my crappy guitar playing? My buddy has a studio, so we're probably going to go and record some stuff there at some point. But all right, let's turn this down. Chat, thank you so much for hanging out. I hope you folks are having an awesome night. There you go. There's the exclamation mark rigged. Or refund. Thank you. Chat, thank you so much for hanging out. I hope you folks have an awesome night. Another great Friday. Some more, fly tying here. Another notch in the belt. Mark it off. And thank you so much for hanging out. Everybody spending some time. Whether you're watching on Twitch or watching on YouTube, it means a lot. And look, we have our new video coming out tomorrow featuring the Cowan's baitfish. Excuse me, my voice is starting to go out. But the next video after that, we're going to have a giveaway for you folks on YouTube. So don't worry. So thank you so much for hanging out, chat. NASCAR, Zeke, Collins. We had Jaleka. We had Craggerol, Lima. Thank you so much, chat. I hope you folks have an awesome night. Thanks for spending some time tonight. Mr. Lima, thank you for the bits, sir. And Southern Fly Guy, Frosty with the bits. Southern Fly Guy with the resub, appreciate it. So you folks have an awesome night. You take it easy. And we'll see you next Friday for some more fly tying. Don't forget, new video tomorrow. All right? Cowan's Jig Baitfish. Check it out. Be there, be square. All right, chat. All right, chat. We'll see you. You have an awesome night. And you take it easy. All right? Peace. Oh, where's my button? Here it is.